Under the brilliant lights of the ballroom, the spotlight is now on the moment that will define a journey. Tonight, wildlife conservationist Robert Irwin stands in the finals of season 34 of Dancing with the Stars. From his very first steps, donning the khaki legacy of his family, to mastering spins, lifts, and quick-footed jives, this is the story of how Robert transformed from famous name to full-fledged ballroom contender. The journey began when 21-year-old Robert was announced as a contestant for the September 16, 2025 premiere of the season alongside his professional partner, Whitney Carson. From the outset, there was buzz. The son of the late renowned wildlife educator Steve Irwin and brother of former champion Bindi Irwin carried both legacy and expectation. But expectations alone don't win trophies. Rhythm and discipline do. In week 1 of the competition, Robert entered the dance floor with energy and boldness. He kicked off with a jive-style performance that referenced both his Aussie roots and his personal charisma. The judges, Kariana Naba, Derek Huff, and Bruno Torellini, praised his step work and presence, though also pointed out the typical rookie stumbles. That week set the tone. Robert is not just here for a cameo, he is here to dance seriously. As the weeks progressed, his progress was unmistakable. On dedication night in October, Robert dedicated his dance to his mother, Terry Irwin, performing a foxtrot to You'll Be in My Heart. The performance was emotional, earnest, and earned strong marks from the judges. It was clear that Robert was growing in confidence and connection, and that connection to his family story gave his routines real emotional weight. Then came a standout moment. On the show's 20th anniversary episode, Robert and Whitney delivered a foxtrot to Leona Lewis's Footprints in the Sand, joining Bindi on stage and projecting images of their father Steve. It was tribute and breakthrough. The emotions in the ballroom were raw. Bruno remarked that he could not take his eyes off Robert. Derek compared his enthusiasm to his father's legacy. And even host Tom Bergeron commented that Robert had grown into a star. That night, they earned the season's first perfect 40. For Robert, that was a signal. The ballroom recognized him. Fast forward to November 18, 2025. It's Prince Night. The theme, music of Prince, dances of passion, precision, and theatrics. Robert and Whitney took on a jive to Baby I'm a Star and followed with the Viennese waltz to Wow. The jive was electric, high energy, fearless, and technical. The judges rewarded them with a perfect score, 10s across the board, and the couple emerged as the top scorers of the night, clinching their place in the finals. Social media erupted with praise. One fan wrote, "His footwork is impeccable. He totally deserves to win." Another simply declared, "He's a dancer." What makes this moment so compelling is the arc of transformation. Robert didn't rely solely on his family name. Early in the season, he leaned into his heritage. Later, especially in the semi-final, he shifted focus to his own performance, choosing not to bring family onto the stage for the first time. It was a bold statement. He's dancing his own story now. Professional partner Whitney Carson has been a steadfast anchor. In Robert's own words, "She's always got my back, and she creates something new and exciting every week." The chemistry between them has been frequently remarked upon. Public reaction has been supportive and celebratory. Fans online call him a frontrunner. Some compare him to his sister's victorious path in season 21, noting that if Bindi could win in 2015, Robert has the potential to follow suit. Meanwhile, whispers behind the scenes suggest that the family's famed Australia Zoo is already making space for a coveted Mirrorball trophy should Robert take home the win. The trophy has significance not only to his career, but to the Irwin family legacy. Of course, the finals bring fresh challenges. It's not just about technique anymore, it's about stamina, emotional storytelling, performance on demand, audience votes, and showmanship. Robert will need to deliver one or more high-stakes routines, potentially a freestyle that showcases all he has learned, plus the declaration of his own artistic voice. Will he pull out the wow moment that clinches the title? Only tonight will tell. And if you've watched him through this journey, seen him grow, embraced the excitement of each week, now is the time to choose. Support counts, votes count, the energy of the fans, the judges, the ballroom itself, it all converges tonight. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this. Khloe Kardashian's holiday season officially burst into view the moment she dropped a warm, intimate, and unmistakably festive photo carousel on Instagram on November 17th, 2025, giving fans exactly the kind of cozy, candid family content they've been craving. No polished studio shoot, no stage glam, just raw, real, early-season Christmas joy with her kids True and Tatum and her niece, Chicago West. And in classic Khloe fashion, the images carried more emotion, more story, and more meaning than she ever said out loud. The first photo instantly stole the spotlight. Khloe sitting in the car, bundled up in a black winter beanie, flashing a soft smile while flanked by two of the closest cousins in the Kardashian-Jenner next generation, her daughter True Thompson, now 7, and her niece Chicago West, also 7. The two little girls wore matching white Hello Kitty hats like twin holiday elves, their bright smiles setting off the perfect blend of innocence and holiday excitement. It wasn't stage glam, it was family. 3 girls in cozy hats, riding together, preparing to dive headfirst into Christmas mode. And fans went wild over the authenticity. Then came the image that had everyone screaming, "This is peak holiday content." Her 3-year-old son, Tatum Thompson, wearing a tiny elf hat, wandering excitedly through a store overflowing with Christmas decor. Glittering ornaments, tinsel, wreaths, everything you imagine when you picture the start of holiday shopping. His laugh mid-step, the oversized hat sliding slightly to the side, the sparkly background, it looked like a scene from a family Christmas movie. This little moment seemed to perfectly capture what Khloe has been trying to protect fiercely for years: childhood magic. But she didn't stop there. Khloe surprised fans by including snapshots that subtly tied the family storyline together, including sweet throwback moments from Dream Kardashian's 9th birthday, celebrated earlier this month. Pink pastel decor, star-shaped balloons, heart-themed decorations, and a very Hello Kitty-inspired vibe. Classic Khloe party planning energy. In the pictures, True and Tatum can be seen laughing and playing, showing just how tight this generation of cousins truly is. It was a reminder that no matter the drama, no matter the headlines, the Kardashian kids remain the beating heart of the family. Khloe didn't add long captions or emotional essays, just a simple trio of emojis, bear, sparkles, and hearts, letting the photos speak softly but powerfully. And yet the comment section filled in the emotional part for her. Friends, Glam Squad members, and longtime supporters flooded the post with words like "so blessed," hearts, cozy emojis, and messages that echoed what fans were already feeling. This was the Khloe they love: warm, nurturing, family-centered, and soft. And here's what makes this holiday post hit deeper than most people realize. Last year, just 1 season ago, Khloe shared that both of her children fell sick right before Christmas. True battled a dangerously high 105-degree fever. Tatum struggled through the weekend, too. The family ended up skipping their iconic annual Christmas Eve party for the first time in years. No glamorous gowns, no high-profile guest list, no massive decor reveal. Instead, they tried to make the best of the situation with a quiet gathering at Kendall Jenner's home, as Khloe's house was undergoing renovations. She called it a low-key Christmas, and at the time, she sounded heartbroken. Missing the Christmas Eve party was a huge deal for the family, something that hadn't happened in decades. So when Khloe posted this new carousel of cheerful, healthy, bundled-up kids, the deeper meaning wasn't lost on her longtime followers. It wasn't just about matching hats and cute elf accessories. It was relief, gratitude, a moment to breathe again after a difficult holiday season the year before, a chance to pour herself into the family traditions she thought she'd lost for a moment. For Khloe, Christmas has always been more than decor and parties. It's about building memories with her children, her nieces, and her nephews, the next generation that she sees as the center of her world.
True and Tatum, who she shares with Tristan Thompson, remain her daily motivation. And Chicago, Kim's daughter, is almost like a third child to her with how close they've grown. Together, these little ones represent joy, healing, and a sense of grounding in a world where everything else can feel chaotic. What fans loved most about the post wasn't the outfits or the locations. It was the intimacy, the unfiltered joy, the normalcy. People described the images as cozy, raw, family at its best, and the side of Khloe we love the most. It reminded the world that behind the multi-million-dollar brands, behind the reality TV fame, and the massive online presence, Khloe is simply a mom in her holiday era, doing Target runs, snapping car selfies, and letting her kids pick out ornaments like any other family preparing for Christmas. This year's holiday energy from Khloe feels different, stronger, softer, happier. After the stress and worry of the last Christmas season, she appears determined to make every moment count. Whether it's decorating early, taking the kids shopping, sharing matching outfits, or celebrating birthdays with pastel balloons and kitchen dance parties, she's fully present, and fans are eating it up. The photos mark the unofficial beginning of the Kardashian family's long-awaited holiday content rollout, something followers look forward to every year. And if Khloe's early post is any indication, we're about to get a lot more warm, wholesome, unexpectedly emotional glimpses into how the family is celebrating this season. From the matching hats to the elf hat moment to the cousin bond on full display, Khloe Kardashian isn't just showing off her holiday plans. She's opening a window into the joy, healing, and gratitude she's carrying into this Christmas. A reminder that even in a family that lives on camera, the most meaningful moments are the simplest ones. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Southern Charm's Madison LaCroix shocked fans at BravoCon 2025 after a sudden and frightening car crash in Las Vegas left the reality star shaken, emotional, and forced to cancel her scheduled appearance. It all unfolded on the evening of November 15, 2025, a day that had started like any other glamorous BravoCon weekend, but ended in a moment that reminded everyone just how quickly life can swerve off course. Earlier that day, Madison had been glowing at the event, smiling for photos, joining panels packed with fans, and speaking about motherhood, filming, and the future of Southern Charm. She attended the Parents' Night Out panel, where she opened up about life as a mother of two, sharing how obsessed she is with her newborn daughter, Teddy, and how seamlessly her 12-year-old son, Hudson, has stepped into the role of protective big brother. Her energy was warm, her spirits were high, and she appeared to be having one of her most successful BravoCon appearances yet. But later that night, as Madison and her team were heading back to their hotel before her scheduled taping of Watch What Happens Live, the unexpected happened. Heavy rains had been hitting Las Vegas throughout the day, causing flooding on roads around the venues. While driving through one of these storm-affected areas, their vehicle became involved in a collision that left everyone inside deeply shaken. Although the crash did not result in severe injuries, the emotional impact was immediate. The jolt, the panic, the sudden realization that a fun, fan-filled day had taken a terrifying turn, it all came crashing at once. Madison later described the moment as frightening and admitted that she and her team were still catching their breath from the incident. She emphasized how grateful she was that everyone walked away safely. No broken bones, no hospital emergencies. But the mental shock was unmistakable. You could feel it in her words, her tone, and the way fans reacted across social platforms. The moment Madison announced she wouldn't make it to Watch What Happens Live, fans watched in real time as the Bravoverse shifted from excitement to concern. Her scheduled appearance was part of the buzzworthy #1 Guys and Gals episode that would pit cast from multiple hit series, including Southern Charm, Summer House, The Valley, and Southern Hospitality, in a fun, chaotic, Bravo-style battle of the sexes. For Madison, this was supposed to be a big moment. Her absence was instantly noted, instantly discussed, and instantly felt. When she shared her message, she sounded both apologetic and overwhelmed, saying she was sad to miss the show, but thankful for the love she'd received from fans throughout the day. This wasn't the dramatic Madison people see on screen. This was Madison the human being, shaken but grateful, scared but composed.
It was a raw moment that cut through the glitz of BravoCon and reminded fans that even reality stars are not immune to real-life danger. Social media exploded with reactions. Fans flooded her comment sections with messages like, "Glad you're okay, take all the time you need, and health comes first." Fellow Bravo celebrities quietly sent their support behind the scenes. Even those who weren't at BravoCon felt the shock, because anytime a cast member announces a car crash during such a major event, it's impossible not to worry. Meanwhile, the weather in Las Vegas continued to be a talking point. The heavy rain, the flooding, the slippery roads, all of it created dangerous conditions, and Madison's experience was suddenly part of a larger story about how chaotic the weekend weather had become. Many fans noted how unpredictable the conditions were, and how easily such an accident could happen, especially with the constant travel and tight schedules BravoCon demands. But let's take a step back and remember who Madison LaCroix is in the Bravo universe. Known for her bold personality, her frank honesty, her beauty business success, and her headline-making storylines, she's been a breakout star since joining Southern Charm's main cast in Season 7. Over the years, she's grown from a fiery newcomer into a central figure in the franchise. Then, in 2025, everything in her personal life shifted again when she and her husband Brett Randall welcomed their daughter Teddy, a moment that softened Madison's image and brought a new level of maturity and emotion to her on-screen presence. At BravoCon, she had been radiating that new mom glow, sharing cute anecdotes about how tiny Teddy already has her wrapped around her finger, laughing about how expensive parenthood can be, and speaking proudly about how her son Hudson has embraced his role as big brother. All of that joy made the accident later that night even more emotionally jarring. To go from a full day of celebrating family, fans, and the show, to suddenly being hit with a terrifying real-world scare, it's the kind of emotional whiplash no one expects. In the aftermath of the crash, Madison made the tough decision to cancel not only her Watch What Happens live appearance, but all her remaining BravoCon commitments. It was disappointing for fans who hoped to see her, but it was also completely understandable. Sometimes the body needs a moment to recover, not just physically, but mentally. She said she was sad to miss the show, but grateful above all else that everyone was safe. You could feel the sincerity in her words. What makes this moment even more significant is its timing. Southern Charm Season 11 is set to premiere just days after the accident. Madison's storyline this season already includes balancing motherhood with filming, navigating her friendships, and stepping into a new phase of life. Now, viewers are naturally wondering if the crash and its emotional aftermath will influence how she enters the new season's spotlight. And it's not just about storyline. Fans care about Madison. Whether they agree with her, clash with her, love her, or critique her, she's become one of the most discussed personalities in the Bravo universe. So when something scary happens, the reaction is immediate and emotional. This wasn't just another celebrity headline. This was a moment when the drama wasn't produced, wasn't edited, wasn't made for television. It was real. Even with the shock, Madison handled the situation with calmness and gratitude. No anger, no blame, no outburst, just relief and a humble acknowledgement that things could have been much worse. She thanked fans for their support, celebrated her team's safety, and promised to recover and regroup. As the days go on and BravoCon 2025 fades into memory, this incident will remain one of the most talked about moments of the weekend, not because of scandal, but because of vulnerability, because it showed that behind the cameras, the panels, the fan frenzy, and the viral clips, the stars of these shows are real people, navigating real highs and lows. Now all eyes are on Madison as she takes time to rest, reconnect with her family, and likely prepared to return to the world of Southern Charm stronger than ever. Fans will surely see her address this moment in her own way. Maybe in an interview, maybe in a social media update, maybe during the new season's press cycle. What's undeniable is that the incident has added a dramatic, unexpected chapter to her ongoing story, and the Bravo audience will be watching closely. For now, the Bravoverse is simply relieved she's safe. The crash may have stopped her from stepping onto the BravoCon stage, but it hasn't stopped her story. If anything, it's made viewers more invested, more supportive, and more eager to see what comes next for Madison LaCroix. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Alice and Ellen Kessler, two names that for decades epitomized glitz and glamour in post-war Europe. Identical twin sisters who danced, sang, and charmed their way through the television sets and variety theaters of the 1950s and 60s. first in Germany, then Italy, and beyond. And now, their story ends in a decision as singular and inseparable as their careers. On 17 November 2025, at age 89, the sisters died together in what has been confirmed as a joint-assisted suicide in their home near Munich. Their lives and their exit are bound together, just as they insisted they would be. From a war-torn childhood in East Germany to global fame as the legs of the nation, to a farewell pact that has stirred debate, this is their extraordinary tale. Born 20 August 1936 in Neuschel, Saxony, Germany, Alice and Ellen arrived into a world about to be reshaped by war and division. They began ballet lessons at age 6, and by 11 were part of the Leipzig Opera's children's ballet. At 16, in 1952, the family escaped from East Germany to the West. That early upheaval left its mark, a sense of escape, of reinvention, of forging something new out of hardship. In West Germany, they began to dance and perform in revue theaters, and in 1955, their talent was spotted by the director of the Paris cabaret Lido. The world stage beckoned. They moved into variety shows, film, and television, using their twin status as a powerful asset. Perfect symmetry, synchronized legs, a visual brand that audiences could instantly recognize. In Italy, they became national icons, Le Gemelli Kessler, the twin sisters who embodied sophistication and sexy fun in the early decades of the Italian television era. They were dubbed the legs of the nation, a reference both to their striking legwork in dance routines and to how their glamorous presence helped reshape the image of post-war Europe. They rubbed shoulders with legends, appearing alongside the likes of Frank Sinatra, Fred Astaire, Harry Belafonte. Their act spanned cabaret, musical film, television specials, live stage work. They even represented West Germany in the 1959 Eurovision contest, finishing 8th with a song titled Heute Abend wollen wir tanzen gehen. They were never simply dancers. They were celebrities, fashion icons, trendsetters, much loved in Italy, Germany, and beyond. Their lives offstage were often intertwined. They shared a home, a career, a bond that many described as unbreakable. Although each sister had relationships and admirers, neither sister ever married. They said repeatedly, "Together we are stronger." But the later decades of their lives were quieter, reflective. They settled in Grunwald, a suburb of Munich, where they lived side by side in adjoining flats, separated by only a sliding wall, a literal and symbolic sign of two lives lived nearly as one. They remained active into advanced age. Even in their 80s, they appeared on stage, made public appearances, and maintained their twin brand. In a 2024 interview, they revealed that they had long planned their fate. They said simply, "If one of us goes first, the other cannot continue. Our wish is to go together, on the same day," one sister said. They stipulated that their ashes be placed in the same urn, and that urn be buried alongside their mother, Elsa, and their dog, Yellow. Then came the final act. On Monday, 17 November 2025, the sisters died together. German police announced on 18 November 2025 that the deaths were ruled a joint suicide and that no foul play was involved. The organization Deutsche Gesellschaft für Humanes Sterben, a Berlin-based assisted dying association, confirmed they had supported the sisters through the legally permitted process in Germany. The sisters administered life-ending medication under the supervision of a physician and lawyer, according to DGHS. The decision, they said, was long planned and voluntary. The sisters were of sound mind and motivated by a desire to preserve dignity and togetherness. The legal context. In Germany, active euthanasia remains illegal, but since a landmark court ruling in 2020 and subsequent legal regulation, individuals may receive medically assisted suicide, meaning they self-administer life-ending medication under strict conditions, free of external pressure, and with full legal capacity. The sisters' departure falls within that framework. As the world learned of their decision, reactions poured in. In Italy, radio station Radio Monte Carlo posted on Instagram, "Alice and Ellen Kessler left together
just as they lived, inseparable. Born in 1936, they were an absolute symbol of European spectacle. Others recalled their dazzling appearances on the early days of Italian television, their influence on style, their joyful yet disciplined performances. Yet this ending has also raised complex questions about autonomy, about the right to die, about twin identity, and the ethics of choosing a joint exit. In Germany as well as Italy and beyond, the sisters' choice reopened debates. Some commentators applauded their agency. Others found the idea of a two-person assisted death unsettling. The issue of combining ashes, which the sisters wished, runs into German burial law. Mixing ashes of more than one person in a single urn is generally prohibited. Their wish may therefore face legal or clerical friction. So let's explore their career, their background, the meaning of their decision, and the legacy they leave behind. First, their rise to fame. Starting in East Germany and fleeing to the West at 16, they arrived in Dusseldorf and honed their act: twin precision dance, synchronized leg kicks, matching costumes, charismatic smiles. That pairing became their signature. Paris's Lido discovered them in 1955, launching international tours. The stage beckoned, and soon they were in Rome, London, Paris, television studios, magazines. Their style was polished, glamorous, yet accessible. They brought a sense of joie de vivre to European audiences rebuilding after war. Their image was often described as elegant, shimmering, slightly risque by the standards of the era. They appeared frequently on Italian television, especially in variety shows during the 1960s, an era when TV was becoming central to mass entertainment. With their twin appeal, they stood out. They were not only dancers, but personalities, interviewees, fashion icons, pop singers. They embraced the showbiz lifestyle and rode it with grace.
In Germany, they helped shift public perception of entertainment, from conservative post-war caution to bold, glamorous shows. In Italy, they contributed to the Dolce Vita atmosphere of the 1960s. They appeared in films and musicals, not just as dancers, but as actresses. Their notoriety extended across Europe and even into the US. They performed or appeared with Hollywood names, traveled widely. Their fame wasn't confined to one country. Yet, behind the sparkle, there was rigorous discipline. They said in later years that the key to their success was simple: synchronization, professionalism, discipline, and unity. Being a twosome only has advantages. Together, you're stronger, Alice once remarked. The spectacle of two identical sisters moving as one was part of the fascination. But more than that, they were a brand built on trust, precision, charm, and the promise of together. They also made conscious decisions about their careers. For example, they reportedly turned down a film offer with Elvis Presley in 1964, Viva Las Vegas, because they feared being typecast in American musical films and losing their European identity and independence. This decision reflects how they maintained control over their path. Over time, their careers matured. They moved into television more heavily. Modeling, guest appearances, stage shows. By the 1970s and 80s, their peak years of variety performance were behind them, but they remained present in the public eye, nostalgic favorites. They symbolized an era. They weathered changing tastes. They remained clean, elegant, professional. Their lives offstage mirrored their onstage image: shared home, shared routines, shared identity. In their personal lives, while each had romances and connections, neither married. They chose to maintain their bond, their brand, their twin unity. Ellen had a long partnership with Italian actor Umberto Orsini. Alice had relationships with the French singer Marcel Amont and Italian actor Enrico Moria Salerno. But marriage, not for them. They once admitted their mother's troubled marriage influenced their decision. They didn't want such instability. The twin bond was their anchor. Their later years were calm, but reflected intention. They insisted on living independently, not wanting to become burdens. When age caught up, they still performed. One sister suffered a cerebral infarction in the weeks before their death. Friends say that pushed the timing of their final plan. According to the DGHS, they had been members of the organization for more than a year and had engaged in preliminary consultations with a doctor and lawyer, fully consenting and of sound mind.
They had repeatedly expressed the wish to leave together on the same day, rather than one go ahead alone. Their departure. In their home near Munich on 17 November 2025, they executed their plan. The DGHS confirmed they self-administered lethal medication in the presence of both a physician and lawyer, as required under German law. The police said it was a joint suicide, no third-party involvement. They emphasized the decision was free, voluntary, and well thought through. The sisters' will stipulated shared ashes. After their passing, tributes poured in. Italian media saluted them. German media reflected on what they meant to post-war culture, show business, twin identity, female entertainers in a male-dominated space. Their exit itself became a media moment. Twin act, twin decision, twin farewell. Public reaction has been emotional. Fans remember their sparkle, their leg kicks, their television performances. Fellow entertainers recalled their discipline and professionalism. In Italy especially, nostalgia reigned. The Kesslers represented an era when television was glamorous and variety shows were major events. A social media post read, "The Kessler twins left together just as they lived, inseparable." The world paused for a moment. At the same time, their departure rekindled ethical debate. Journalists, ethicists, and commentators noted that the notion of two people agreeing to assisted death together pushes boundaries of the autonomy debate. Some raise concerns. Does joint planning raise subtle pressure on one or both parties? Does twin identity heighten the emotional interdependence and thus complicate the freedom of choice? In Germany, burial law also raises procedural questions. Mixing ashes in one urn is not generally permitted. Thus, their wish may face legal complication. And in Italy, where assisted suicide remains heavily regulated or illegal in many forms, their decision triggered commentary about differences in national end-of-life laws. What does this mean for legacy? The Kessler twins leave behind more than dance routines and television credits. They leave a story about identity, partnership, independence, and control. Their lives were about togetherness, but also about choice, to define their careers, to define their exit. They refused to become dependent. They refused to allow one to outlive the other, only to live alone. They took the final act with the same precision they brought to the stage. Now let's pause and reflect on some of the key moments in their career. The escape from East Germany, the discovery in Paris, the Italian television stardom, the tours, the US appearances, the choice of roles, the twin branding, the decision to delay, to stay relevant, to age on their own terms, and finally to end in a way of their choosing. Each of these parts hold layers of meaning. Their hometown origin, Nürnberg, Saxony. Born in 1936, they were children of a Germany heading into World War II. The region was later part of East Germany, the Soviet zone. Their family escape in 1952 was a milestone in their lives. At 16, they changed continents, ideologies, identities. Such a backdrop shaped them. The urge to perform, to shine, to leave the shadows of history behind. Their discovery. In Dusseldorf, they danced in revue theaters. In 1955, Paris's Lido recognized their sparkle and twin act. That launched them internationally. Their performances were not simply dance. They were visual spectacle. Costumes, lighting, twin illusions. Audiences were entranced. They brought European entertainment into a new era. Italian stardom. In the 1960s, Italy's state television was expanding. Variety shows were high prestige, and the Kessler twins found their sweet spot. They appeared in shows like Studio One, contested the shifting mores of fashion and television appearances. In Italy, they became mainstream celebrities, adored. They were featured in magazines, telecasts, stage shows. Men and women admired them, men for their glamour, women for their poise and independence. They became cultural icons of a shifting Europe. Their international reach. They appeared in films, musicals, and television programs beyond Italy and Germany. They performed with major stars like Sinatra, Astaire, Belafonte. Their crossover appeal was real, though they rejected certain opportunities. For example, allegedly declining a film with Elvis in 1964 because they did not want to lose their identity. They stayed true to their brand: European glamour, twin synchronicity, professional control. Their twin identity. What does it mean to be a twin? For Alice and Ellen, it became the very core of their act and their life. They knew each other's steps, moods, routines. They shared homes, routines, careers, and they made choices together. Their career gains came because they were twins, but the personal price may have been huge. Less individuality, constant comparison, the need to perform as a pair. Yet they made it work, and late in life they acknowledged it. Their pact to leave together. The idea that one of the two will go first is very difficult to bear, they told interviewers. Their decision to exit together can be seen as an extension of their identities, never to be just solo, always twin. Their later years and final decision. Aging in show business is never easy, especially for performers marketed on youth and glamour. They were aware of time. They refused becoming burdens. According to reports, Ellen had a cerebral vascular event shortly before their decision. They were realistic about physical decline. Their will stated shared ashes, burial alongside their mother and dog. They joined the DGHS, had counseling, legal and medical oversight, and on one day in November 2025, they said enough. They made their exit together. What does that mean for us, the viewers, for the world of celebrity, for the ethics of life and death? On one hand, the Kesslers remind us of a sunlit era, post-war Europe rebuilding, variety shows dancing into the night, television glamour spreading across borders. They remind us that entertainment is not just fleeting, it is memory, it is culture. On the other hand, their decision to choose death sparks a conversation about dignity, autonomy, and whether love between two people can extend into the final act of life. Some will celebrate their agency. They chose when to leave, how to leave, and did it together. Some will ask uneasy questions. Did the twin bond become pressure? Did age, illness, and fear of dependence leave them feeling cornered? The public reaction threads both admiration and discomfort. The medical legal framework in Germany is clear. The person must act freely, voluntarily, with full capacity. The DGHS attests the sisters met that standard. But the wider cultural mirror reveals complexity. Twin celebrity, showbiz expectations, aging, dependency. In terms of legacy, for the entertainer world, the Kesslers' act belongs to a bygone era of variety, live television, synchronized dance, glamorous costumes, and international stardom. Young performers today may rarely see a twin act quite like theirs. For cultural history, they sit at the intersection of German and Italian entertainment, Cold War migration, gendered performance, twin imagery. For the public, they remain a symbol of efficiency, elegance, endurance, and now of choice.
When fans recall them now, they will recall the leg kicks, the matching dresses, the sparkle, the twin dynamic, but also the decision to leave on their own terms. The headlines will read, Alice and Ellen Kessler die together in assisted suicide at 89. But beneath the headline lies a story of two women who lived inseparably, worked inseparably, and chose to die inseparably. As we wind down this story, it is worth taking a moment to reflect on individual quotes that capture their spirit. One sister said, discipline, every day. Gratitude, time and again. Humility, not cockiness, and togetherness until death. Another said, being a twosome only has advantages. Together, you're stronger. These words encapsulate their approach to life and to this final farewell. Their shared farewell may seem dramatic, but perhaps in the context of their lives, it was simply consistent. In the days following their passing, media tributes have poured in, Italian outlets calling them an absolute symbol of European spectacle, German obituaries emphasizing their role in rebuilding German entertainment image post-war, international commentary praising their longevity and stage presence. Meanwhile, conversations about assisted dying continue. The sisters' case will become part of the broader dialogue in Europe and beyond about the right to die with dignity, the ethics of joint decisions, and the idea of self-determined exit. As we close, remember this. The Kessler twins were never ordinary entertainers. Their careers spanned decades. Their image spanned countries.
Their influence, while perhaps fading in memory for younger generations, remains layered. And their final decision, bold and personal, adds a new chapter to their story. They refused to linger, refused to lose autonomy, and refused to leave without each other. Their exit was as much a performance of unity as their stage shows had been. For you watching this video, may their story inspire reflection on how we live, how we age, how we choose, on the power of partnership, on the meaning of choice, and on the legacies we leave behind. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Kate Middleton's hair transformation isn't just a passing beauty moment. It's become a talking point that intersects her personal journey, public role, and the shade itself tells a story. The question on everyone's lips, why is the Princess of Wales looking blonder than ever before? And what's really behind that golden glow in her locks? Let's dive in. When Kate first married Prince William in 2011, she sealed her style identity with those rich brunette waves, deep, glossy, chestnut brown that became as much a signature as her fashion choices and poised smile. For years, that look was the constant, polished, elegant, classic brunette, the safe aesthetic for a future queen in waiting, one who must balance royal duties, public appearances, and a sense of timelessness. But now, in 2025, something has shifted. This summer and early autumn, she stepped out in appearances with visibly lighter hair, honey tones, golden dimensions, a blonde look rather than pure brunette. The world noticed. Editors, stylists, trend watchers, fans all paused to examine. Did she dye it? Is this new strategy a fresh chapter for the style icon royal? The answer came on November 19, 2025, backstage at the Royal Variety performance in London. In a private conversation with actress Sue Pollard, Kate was complimented on her lighter hair. "I like your hair. It looks a lot lighter," Pollard said. Kate replied, in her measured, graceful way, "It used to be brown, but it's gone light in the sunshine." That line crystallized it. The royal publicly acknowledging that the change is real and that sunlight has had a hand. No dramatic bleach job, no formal announcement of a full color overhaul, just a subtle shift, and sunshine taking part of the credit. That comment did two things. One, it answered the speculation. Two, it reframed the narrative from "what has she done" to "what has happened." Because sunshine isn't just a weather condition, it suggests holiday, freedom, relaxation, departure from routine. For Kate, who earlier in 2024 revealed that she had undergone preventative chemotherapy and declared herself in remission, the summer break and the lighter hair tone carry subtext. Her health journey, she stated in September 2024, "With humility, it also brings you face to face with your own vulnerabilities in a way you have never considered before." She finished chemotherapy and said she was cancer-free in January 2025. So the transformation of hair, the lightness, the return to public life all resonate as a sign of renewal. Now, zooming out, the first major public appearance that sparked the hair color buzz came in September 2025, when Kate visited the newly renovated gardens of the Natural History Museum in London. She stepped out, smiling, confident, with hair that looked longer and lighter than ever. Editors described it as her blondest ever to date. But just 2 days later, at a women's rugby match, her hair looked darker again. Some commentators put this down to lighting, styling, half-up hair makes highlights less visible, and camera conditions. A color expert weighed in. While the sunshine certainly helps lighten hair, styled waves and highlights contribute to the effect of depth and shimmer. It's not simply the sun doing it alone. A leading color specialist described her new look as a honey blonde hue that instantly brightens her complexion while adding dimension to her naturally darker base. That phrasing is important. It signals that this isn't a dramatic platinum shift, but a sophisticated layering of lighter hues on a brunette base. The term blonde gets used, brown plus blonde, a middle ground that allows continuity with her old style and entry into something fresh. In the world of beauty, the more dramatic shift would be bleaching to full blonde. Here, Kate's version is restrained, elegant,
still recognizably hers. Public reaction? As always with royals, it's layered. Many followers greeted the lighter locks with approval. She looks luminous. Her eyes are brighter. She's glowing after everything she's been through. Some professionals pointed out that warmer, golden tones make her green eyes pop and soften her cool undertones. But then there's the flip side. Hair is intensely personal, especially for women in the public eye. One veteran of royal hairstyling called out online trolls who mocked the change, calling their comments evil and nasty in this context, emphasizing that hair is armor and confidence, especially after a health battle. The scrutiny for Kate is amplified. Every appearance, every angle, every strand becomes headline fodder, and in that arena, subtlety is strength. Let's trace the timeline with key moments. In late August 2025, during a Sunday service at Crathy Kirk near Balmoral, where the royal family traditionally spends time, Kate appeared alongside William and the children with noticeably honeyed blonde tones. That sighting set the tone for the months to come. It was brief, but widely shared in media outlets. Then, in early September, the museum visit, the most blonde we've seen her, according to One Style magazine. Then, later, despite a few darker appearances, the shift was clearly underway. On November 19th at the Royal Variety performance, the golden waves were back and Kate confirmed the reason. In doing so, the couple also marked their first red carpet appearance in 2 years, an event in itself that signaled a return to visibility and normalcy in their public engagements. So, what does this hair shift mean? On one level, simply that Kate wanted a fresh look. On another, for someone who has regained health and is re-engaging with royal responsibilities after a difficult personal chapter, the aesthetic change is symbolic. The lighter hair suggests warmth, renewal, sun-drenched freedom. It aligns with a broader sentiment of the Princess of Wales returning, not just as royal figurehead, but as an individual evolving. It whispers, "I have been through something. I am coming back, and I'm stepping into a slightly different version of myself." In this sense, it becomes less about color and more about narrative. And of course, from a style industry perspective, her change may carry broader influence. Hairstylists and salon owners note that when someone of Kate's visibility shifts look, clients follow. One salon owner said, "Kate's gone for a strong look that is really noticeably different to how we are used to seeing her. She looks as though she's had a full set of highlights." That suggests the change is not temporary. It has been orchestrated, even if the sun plays a role. The comment that this is the blondest we've seen her underlines that it is not merely a trick of lighting, but a deliberate move. But let's dig deeper. What does sunshine as explanation really imply? Sunshine invokes holiday, yacht trips, relaxed schedule, family time. We know the royal couple and their children, Prince George, 12, Princess Charlotte, 10, Prince Louis, 7, spent parts of the summer in the Greek islands on a super yacht, enjoying downtime. When top figures take that breath of fresh air, it leaks into style. Lighter hair, deeper tan, relaxed silhouettes. For someone in Kate's position, that shift in external style reflects internal shift. It's subtle, but visible. Bring in the health scaffolding, recent cancer treatment, recovery, stable remission, and the appearance of lighter hair becomes a sign of life moving forward. In many ways, the hair change also marks a loosening of royal strictness. For decades, visiting royals adhered to conservative aesthetics. Darker hair is considered more formal, serious, regal, but a golden hue says personal more than institutional. The fact that Kate, who only turned 43 in January, opted for a lighter shade now says she feels comfortable evolving, and the institution supports that. It speaks of a 6-plus-year marriage with the heir apparent, a mother of 3, someone who has experienced public and private challenges, now stepping into a new phase. Nevertheless, it would be overly simplistic to declare Kate is going blonde forever. Color experts note that while she's embraced lighter tones, her base remains brunette. The layering is key. Highlights, gloss toners, dimensional warm tones. That means longevity and versatility. She can maintain the look, fade back to darker tones, or go even lighter over time. And given how important hair is to her image, that flexibility makes sense. There's also the question of health, which cannot be ignored. In September 2024, Kate shared that she had finished preventative chemotherapy and was focusing on staying cancer-free. Many fans interpreted the hair transformation as symbolic proof of healing and vitality. The old notice, "She looks well," accompanied that August appearance. Critics who looked at earlier August photos pointed to the fresh tone as a sign she looks well and ready to be seen. The golden honey blonde hair became shorthand for health return, strength regained. In a world where celebrity hair changes are about fashion, on Kate it becomes more about narrative. Public reaction has ranged from praise to petty critique. Supporters highlight that she carries the lighter color with elegance, that it enhances her natural beauty, and that she's basically leading a hair trend. On the flip side, cynics suggest it's too calculated, too glamorous, or that she's betraying her usual look. Older alt-royal commentators remind us that hair should be allowed to change and evolve. And as one stylist put it, hair is armor. For Kate, after the cancer journey, the hair has become part of her armor again. In terms of messaging, the style shift also amplifies Kate's current priorities: family, health, public duty, subtle change, not drastic reinvention. She is not suddenly adopting edgy cuts or radical color blocks. Instead, she is gently evolving. That speaks volumes. It tells us the future queen knows how to maintain continuity while signaling growth. She is not resetting everything, she is adding hue to her narrative.
Salon professionals say that such a transition from brunette to honey blonde is among the easiest major color changes to maintain while giving impact. If someone asked how to replicate her look, they'd say ask for honey blonde, golden beige, warm dimension on a dark base, baby lights, gloss toner. The experts suggest that the new tone suits her cool undertones and green eyes, giving brightness without going platinum. Kate's hair aesthetics align with current trends: warmer hair tones, natural dimension, subtle transitions rather than stark change. That matters because trend-setting royals aren't about flash, they're about timeless relevance. Kate's new hair therefore threads the needle between trend and tradition. Let's pause and reflect. What does this hair change communicate to the world? It communicates, I have lived through challenge. I have emerged. I have spent time in sun and in rest. I remain present in my role, but I feel the freedom to evolve. It communicates style confidence and self-possession. For young women globally who follow her style, it says you can shift your look, even subtly, and still be recognizable, still be yourself. For the media, it says there's story beyond the palace walls. For the royal institution, it signals modernization of appearance without breaking protocol. Yet, as with all royal appearances, there's a tightrope walk. The hair cannot overshadow the role. It must not distract from the duties. Critics will watch. Is it too momentary? Will it fade in 6 months? Does it reflect deeper changes or just aesthetics? But for now, it is working. For now, Kate looks radiant, health-vibrant, and visually refreshed. The golden tones catch cameras, redirect commentary from earlier health focus, and place her style back in the spotlight, not just as the royal who lost her hair during treatment, but as the royal whose hair is shining again. And if you go back through the galleries, the August Balmoral church service, the September Museum Gardens visit, the November red carpet appearance, they form a chain. Each appearance builds on the last. The initial sighting at Balmoral was subtle but noticeable. The September museum visit shouted visual change. The November confirmation put a narrative stamp on it. In a world hungry for change, these appearances allowed Kate to orchestrate a style chapter without headline shock. The reveal was calm, the message simple: sunshine. We can't ignore the importance of timing. Kate's hair change aligns with a full return to public engagements, family stability, health recovery, and a broader sense of renewal across the royal household. The chrysalis has opened. The queen-in-waiting is stepping out with a little more ease, a little more warmth, a little more light, and the hair reflects that.
The fact that she mentioned light in the sunshine rather than citing a brand, salon, or stylist underscores that the change is personal, organic, almost offhand, a holiday glow rather than a publicity stunt. However, for our viewers, what does this mean for you? If you're following celebrity style, this is how the game is played. Shift the detail. Don't overhaul the gist, tweak the tone. Kate didn't chop her hair. She kept the length, the silhouette, the familiar base. She changed the nuance. That's why it resonates. Because when someone with a strong aesthetic changes too much, you lose the identity you built. But when someone changes just enough, you sense growth. That's relatable. Returning to reactions, the hairstylists expect this look to influence salon requests soon. The Kate Middleton effect often means what the princess chooses becomes aspirational for thousands. Honey blonde highlights, warmer tones on dark bases, subtle dimension rather than dramatic overhaul, that's likely what clients will ask for. And that in itself is commentary. The royal isn't just adapting, she's leading. When a salon owner says, "We're going to see more people ask for this because Kate did it," that's power. And yet onwards, what might be next? Will she go even lighter? Will the golden tones deepen or fade into brunette again? Will she keep the look for seasons or adjust with each year? Only time will tell. But what seems clear is that this change is neither accident nor casual fluff. It's a statement of where she is now, a statement of health, of light, of continuity, and subtle evolution. In closing, let's summarize the layered meaning. The hair is lighter. She acknowledged it. She credited sunshine. She regained visibility. She navigates her role and personal journeys simultaneously. She influenced trends. She gave fans something fresh yet familiar. That, in a nutshell, is the headline. For you as viewer, it's story, style, symbolism, all in one.
Landman Season 2 dropped a bombshell that's already shaking the foundations of the series when Sam Elliott joined the cast as TL, father to Billy Bob Thornton's Tommy Norris. The reaction behind the scenes was far more emotional than anyone expected. Thornton, a veteran actor who's played hard-edged man his whole career, admitted that when he got the call about Elliott's casting, he was so moved that he literally cried. He told his wife, "And I started crying and she's a witness to it. I'm not joking," calling it embarrassing but utterly genuine. He called Elliott one of my heroes and a mentor of mine. From the moment TL appears on screen in the premiere episode titled Death and a Sunset, the weight of emotion sweeps through the narrative. We find him sitting in a wheelchair outside a Texas assisted living facility, watching a sunset as if it's his last link to something beautiful. Then he's told that Dorothy, Tommy's mother and TL's wife, died during her afternoon nap. His reaction? A powerful line. "I recommend you find a way to die quick. This dying a little bit every day is..." He trails off, defeated. And when told he'll see her again, he replies bitterly, "If I do, that means I am in hell too." It's chilling. It doesn't just show grief, it shows a life spent in pain and regret. That premiere sets the tone for the rest of the season. Fractured ties, old wounds, business and family colliding in the gritty oil fields of West Texas, where Tommy runs M-Tex Oil and TL resurfaces, a wildcatter turned shell of a man. Creator Taylor Sheridan recruited Elliott personally, a reunion of sorts since Elliott had worked with Sheridan before. But the emotional intensity between Elliott and Thornton is what brings the story to life. They've known each other since the late 1980s, acted together in the Western film Tombstone and in Sheridan's 1883. Now they're playing father and son for the first time. Thornton reflected on how difficult it was for him to face his own past through the role. He revealed that he had a challenging relationship with his own father, who died when Thornton was young, and this role stirred up all of that. One of the hardest things to do as an actor is to be either mean or disrespectful to someone that you love so much in real life, explaining that after each emotionally heavy scene with Elliott, he and Sam would hug and say, "I love you, buddy." That strong off-screen bond brings a realism to their on-screen dynamic that audiences sense. What makes this casting moment so significant is not just the addition of a star, but the layered resonance it brings.
Tommy Norris, already under pressure as head of MTEX Oil after the death of his mother, now faces his outestranged father, a man who once worked the oil fields and who carries his own grief, bitterness, and legacy. The storyline reveals that Tommy's mother's death came out of nowhere, that Tommy's reaction was almost muted, and that the father-son relationship was always broken. TL shows up not as a savior, but as a wounded, cranky man who has to face his past just as Tommy must. On the red carpet in Fort Worth in early November, Elliott appeared with his wife Catherine Ross and daughter Cleo Rose Elliott for the advanced screening of Landman Season 2, reinforcing the significance of his return to television and how meaningful the project is to him. He described it as a real gift to work with Tommy Thornton and the series. Fans reacted with warm praise for the couple's appearance and the family's endurance in Hollywood. But within the context of the show, it underscores how the casting isn't just business, it's personal. Thornton and Elliott's off-screen friendship adds texture to their characters on screen. Tommy Norris, heading an oil empire, rough around the edges, used to wielding power and managing crises, and TL, formerly in the game, now forced into a wheelchair, bitter, full of regret, and watching his life slip away. The premiere suggests that Tommy's reaction to his mother's death is almost casual. "My mother," he tells Angela when asked bluntly, which hints at deep suppression and avoidance, while TL's grief is visceral, raw. The meeting of these two men, cast and character, is going to be one of the emotional anchors of the season. We also know that Season 2 of Landman consists of 10 episodes, airing Sundays on Paramount+. The public has responded with excitement around Elliott's arrival and the shift in narrative focus. Commentary pieces highlight how fans have been posting on social media things like, "Thornton crying about Elliott joining us as dad? That's real respect." The synopsis of the show has been updated. Now the stakes include not just drilling rights and oil wealth, but legacy, grief, father-son conflict, and whether power can ever atone for past hurt. Behind the scenes, the co-creator, Christian Wallace, confirmed there is a lot of runway left for the series beyond Season 2. Even though no official renewal has been announced yet, development on Season 3 is reportedly already in motion. This cast shakeup with Elliott isn't a gimmick. It's setting up a longer, deeper chapter for the Norris family and the oil world they inhabit. As the season progresses, expect Tommy and TL to collide in both business and personal arenas. Maybe TL wants in on MTEX Oil again. Maybe he wants something entirely else. Redemption, reconciliation, or perhaps just to be seen. Tommy, used to controlling everything, now has to face a father who once held nothing back, and a death that he seems barely able to process. The emotional tone here is rich with regret, with opportunities for healing, maybe, but also for deep hurt. The casting impact goes beyond their characters. Thornton said about Elliott's inclusion, "I told my wife I started crying. This is no joke, kind of embarrassing." It's rare to hear an actor of his stature admit this kind of vulnerability so openly. That moment tells you how much this role means to him, to the story, to the relationship between the two men. And for audiences, it signals that what they're watching is more than surface drama. It's genuine emotion, layered with decades of history, friendship, mentorship, and respect. So if you're tuning in to Landman Season 2, keep your eyes on the father-son dynamic. Keep note of how Tommy handles the death of his mother, how he handles his father showing up, and how this oil empire he built begins to crack under personal pressures. Watch Sam Elliott's TL not just as a thorn in Tommy's side, but as a man confronting the end of his story. And watch Billy Bob Thornton's Tommy Norris not just as a landman, but as a man forced into a reckoning. Make sure you're watching weekly Sundays, and as Elliott said, it doesn't get any better than this. And truly, for fans of the series or fans of these actors, that feels like an understatement. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Caroline Kennedy's daughter, Tatiana Schlossberg, has revealed in a deeply personal essay that she has been diagnosed with a terminal form of cancer. At just 35 years old, the environmental journalist disclosed that doctors now estimate she may have 1 year or less to live after a battle with acute myeloid leukemia. On May 25, 2024, shortly after the birth of her second child in New York, Tatiana's doctor noticed an alarmingly high white blood cell count, 131,000 cells per microliter, when a normal count runs between 4 and 11,000. That day would mark the beginning of a harrowing journey, a diagnosis of acute myeloid leukemia, AML, with a rare mutation called inversion 3, a mutation typically found in older patients and associated with a far more aggressive disease course. Tatiana writes that she could not believe that they were talking about me. I had swum a mile in the pool the day before, 9 months pregnant. I wasn't sick. I didn't feel sick. I was actually one of the healthiest people I knew. From then on, she embarked on an intensive treatment path, weeks hospitalized at Columbia Presbyterian Columbia University Irving Medical Center, followed by multiple rounds of chemotherapy, then 2 stem cell transplants, first using cells from her sister, then from an unrelated donor, and later a clinical trial involving CAR T cell therapy. She recounts a relapse after the first transplant, then further hospitalizations for graft versus host disease and an Epstein-Barr virus infection that left her physically exhausted, unable to walk for a time. My leg muscles wasted and my arms seemed whittled into bone. In the essay, she reflects on her husband, Dr. George Moran, a urology resident turned physician at Columbia, whom she describes as perfect, and writing, "I feel so cheated and so sad that I don't get to keep living the wonderful life I had with this kind, funny, handsome genius I managed to find." She and George have 2 young children, a son born in 2022 and a daughter born in May 2024. She admits she will never know whether her daughter truly thinks of her as mother, having missed much of her baby's first year due to hospitalization and the risk of infection, and fears that her children won't remember her. "My kids, whose faces live permanently on the inside of my eyelids," she writes. She also writes about the immense support of her family, her mother, Ambassador and former First Daughter Caroline Kennedy, her father, Edwin Schlossberg, her siblings, Jack and Rose Schlossberg, who have held my hand unflinchingly while I have suffered, trying not to show their pain and sadness in order to protect me from it. Her brother Jack, who recently announced his candidacy for Congress, posted on Instagram, "Life is short, let it rip," in show of support for his sister's public revelation. Beyond the personal, Tatiana uses her essay to call attention to policy and public health concerns. She directly criticizes her cousin, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., now U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, accusing him of cutting nearly $500 million in mRNA vaccine research, technology she argues could be used against certain cancers, and slashing billions in funding to the National Institutes of Health, as well as threatening the panel of medical experts responsible for recommending preventative cancer screenings. She writes, "And as I spent more and more of my life under the care of doctors, nurses, and researchers striving to improve the lives of others, I watched as Bobby cut nearly $500 million for research into mRNA vaccines." That intersection of her family's tragedy, personal battle, and public health policy frames her essay as both memoir and indictment. Public reaction has already been moving. Her cousin Maria Shriver posted on Instagram calling Tatiana extraordinary and urging followers to read the essay, praising her as a beautiful writer, journalist, wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. Media outlets across the U.S. and internationally are covering the story, highlighting Tatiana's diagnosis, treatment efforts, emotional reflections, and the larger legacy of the Kennedy family. The broader context is essential. Tatiana comes from perhaps America's most scrutinized political family. Her grandfather, President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in 1963. Her great-uncle, Robert F. Kennedy, in 1968. Her grandmother, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, died in 1994 after battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Her brother, John F. Kennedy Jr., died in a plane crash in 1999. Now, her essay positions this cancer diagnosis as yet another painful chapter in that family's history, but makes it painfully personal.
She writes, "For my whole life, I have tried to be good, to be a good student and a good sister and a good daughter, and to protect my mother and never make her upset or angry. Now, I have added a new tragedy to her life, to our family's life, and there's nothing I can do to stop it." Let's recap the key facts. Tatiana Schlossberg, daughter of Caroline Kennedy and Edwin Schlossberg, diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in May 2024, shortly after the birth of her daughter. She's undergone high-intensity treatment, chemotherapy, 2 stem cell transplants, a CAR T cell trial. Doctors estimate she has less than a year to live, given the aggressive nature of her disease and its rare mutation. She's 35 years old, married to George Moran, and mom to 2 young children. She has taken this moment to speak out about healthcare research funding, vaccine technologies, and her own family's legacy. She has been open about her fear, guilt, love for her children, and the enormity of what this means. Emotionally, the essay is raw. She remembers swimming a mile when 9 months pregnant, never suspecting how fast events would pivot. She reflects on being one of the healthiest people I knew, until blood work changed everything in hours. She describes the hospital stays, the physical decline, the hope of remission, the pain of relapse, and the sense of not returning home. She writes about watching her kids from hospital windows, not being able to feed or pick up her daughter, about the exhaustion of immunocompromised life, the reliance on others, the unfairness of it all. She describes lying in hospital, in darkness, reading Seamus Heaney poems about healing and miracles. She hints at this surreal contrast, a journalist used to writing about the environment, now fighting for her life deep in the hospital. She also voices the fear of being forgotten, of absence, of not being there for her children's future. "My son might have a few memories, but he'll probably start confusing them with pictures he sees or stories he hears." On the policy side, Tatiana frames her own diagnosis within the context of health system vulnerabilities. She writes that during her treatment, her cousin's confirmation as health secretary made her feel the system she depended on had become strained, shaky. She connects shifts in funding and research with the real lives of patients like her. Her piece is part personal testimony, part commentary. From fans and friends to family members, the response has been supportive and sympathetic. But beyond personal support, the story pulses with deeper meaning, the fragility of life, the intersections of fame, legacy, illness, policy, motherhood, mortality. A woman born into America's most famous family, now facing battles that many ordinary people know, but with a spotlight that intensifies everything. In short, this is not just a story of a Kennedy in crisis. It is the story of a mother, a writer, a daughter, a sister, confronting a world-ending diagnosis, while still living in the world, still loving, still hoping, still making memories. She ends her essay touching on something perhaps every human fears, the possibility that she might not be there for her kids, might not get to watch them grow, might not get to have the wonderful life she thought she would. And yet, she chooses to keep living, to remember, to fight, to speak. So as Tatiana Schlossberg's story unfolds in the public eye, we're reminded that no amount of pedigree shields anyone from what so many face: illness, fear, uncertainty. But also that our response, love, truth, speaking up, caring, still matters. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Dolly Parton stepped back into the spotlight in a way that caught everyone's attention, and for good reason. At 79 years old, the country music legend quietly acknowledged a period of health challenges, and now her public return is as much about resilience as it is about celebration. Today, we unpack everything: the health concerns that put her on pause, the heartfelt message she delivered, the public reaction, and why this moment feels like a turning point in a career that spans decades. Let's start where the concern began. In late September 2025, Dolly announced that she would postpone her upcoming Las Vegas residency, a 6-concert run at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, originally scheduled to begin December 4th. She cited health challenges and mentioned that her doctors had told her she needed a few procedures. In her own words, she described it lightheartedly as time for my 100,000-mile checkup. But the tone beneath the humor carried weight. The show she wanted to give her fans couldn't be fully prepared under the circumstances. She said, "I'm not going to be able to rehearse and put together the show that I want you to see and that you deserve to see." That announcement rippled through her fan base and industry alike, because at her age, at her scale, pulling back is rare. Then came the added ripple of concern when her sister, Frida Parton, posted a message on social media asking fans to pray for her big sister. Many of you know she hasn't been feeling her best lately. The post triggered alarm. Frida later clarified, "She's been a little under the weather. I simply asked for prayers because I believe so strongly in the power of prayer. Yet the damage was done." Speculation swirled that Dolly was much worse off than she let on. On October 8th, 2025, Dolly confronted that speculation head-on in a video she shared on Instagram and other social channels. Sitting on the set of a commercial shoot for the Grand Ole Opry, she looked straight at camera and said, with characteristic wit and candor, "Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here." Then came the headline grabber. "I ain't dead yet." She leaned into the humor, because that's Dolly. Big hair, brassy voice, laughed at Phil's arome. But the message behind the joke was serious. She was reinforcing that though she had health issues, they were not life-threatening, and she intended to keep going. She said, "I want you to know I'm okay. I've got some problems. Nothing major. I let a lot of things go that I should have been taking care of." Her candid admission touched a nerve, a star confessing that amidst a marriage of nearly 60 years, the death of her husband earlier that year, Carl Dean had died in March at age 82, and the demands of career after decades, she had neglected her own well-being. She added, "But I wanted you to know that I'm not dying. I'm not ready to die yet. I don't think God is through with me, and I ain't done working." That video appearance marked the first definitive public marker of her health journey, and then crucially came the major appearance. On November 19th, 2025, Dolly missed the live induction ceremony for her beloved theme park, Dollywood, at the annual convention of the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions in Orlando, Florida. She addressed it via video message. "I sure wish I could be with you in person today, but you probably heard that I've been dealing with a few health challenges this fall, and my doctors told me to take it easy for just a little while." She thanked the organizers, thanked her team, thanked the community. "From the bottom of my heart, thank you for this honor. And remember that I will always love you." While this wasn't a red carpet live appearance in the way she once dominated them, the fact that she recorded and delivered the message, visibly and publicly, signals a return. Her voice, her presence, her energy were back. And the public reaction? Overwhelmingly positive. Fans flooded social media with messages of relief, admiration, and loyalty. One echoed sentiment that she embodies hope. Yes, she's human. Yes, she's vulnerable. But also, yes, she's still Dolly. Let's pause and dig into the background, because this moment cannot be fully appreciated without understanding the magnitude of her career, her influence, and her personal life chapter she's in. Dolly Rebecca Parton was born in 1946 in rural Tennessee, the fourth of 12 children. She grew up in a one-room cabin, taught by her parents the value of hard work, family, and faith. She burst into national consciousness with songs like Jolene and 9 to 5, became a crossover star who acted in films, launched businesses, and created the Imagination Library, a philanthropy that has gifted millions of books to children. Her theme park, Dollywood, in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, is a major tourist destination, employing thousands and drawing millions of visitors. She is iconic, yes, for sequins and humor and showmanship, but also for her generosity, her resilience, and her ability to connect. In recent years, she has not slowed down. Her 2023 album, Rockstar, showed she still had creative fire, collaborating with rock legends. Her 2024 release, Smoky Mountain DNA, Family, Faith, and Fables, dug deep into roots and story. She celebrated her 75th wedding anniversary, though her husband, Carl Dean, who had largely stayed out of public view, passed away in March 2025 at age 82. She announced at the time,
Words can't do justice to the love we shared for over 60 years. So when health news surfaced, it felt bigger than just a routine checkup. It felt like a star of her magnitude revealing a rare moment of humanization. The icon, under strain, choosing to slow down, to heal, to reset. The stakes were high because the expectation for Dolly was always that she'd continue dazzling. But for a moment, she reminded us that she's still subject to the vulnerabilities we all share. Now, let's examine what her major appearance looked like. Not full-blown live performance, but a visible step back into the public sphere. Video messages, social media posts, acceptance of honors, this counts. Fans saw her, heard her, got the message. She was still in action. The imagery matters. The spark in her eyes, the smile despite everything, the acknowledgement of mortality without surrender. And the timing couldn't be better. Just as her 80th birthday looms, she will turn 80 in January 2026, she's at a junction. Legacy meets living. She said previously, "I ain't got time to get old. I ain't got time to dwell on that." She's channeled those words into this chapter, acknowledging her health but refusing to let it define her or dictate the end of the story. We should also look at how the industry and public are reacting. Colleagues, fans, entertainment outlets, many praised her transparency and reinvention. Some reminded each other that the show must go on, but right now, the show is about recovery and respect. There's talk of her rescheduled Las Vegas residency now set for September 2026, giving her time to heal and prepare properly. Ticket holders were notified of refunds or transfers. She said plainly, "I just need a little time to get show ready." That's an admission of limitation, rare among major stars, and a refusal of downgrade. In the broader context of celebrity culture, this moment offers lessons: how to be transparent with fans, how to manage health and public image, and how to allow for vulnerability without giving in to tragedy. Dolly has always been larger than life, but here she showed us what it looks like to step behind the curtain a little bit, admit the strain, and nonetheless shine. What comes next? We can expect several threads. First, her book, star of the show, My Life on Stage, released November 11th, 2025, a career-spanning memoir that has made headlines showcasing her reflections on life, art, and legacy. Second, her philanthropic work continues. She said receiving her honorary award made her dream up new ways to help lift people up. Third, the Las Vegas residency still looms, now with more breathing room, and fans are hungry for what that show will look like after the pause. Fourth, the holiday season, for which she's reportedly already decorating and planning, is a moment of joy and renewal for her home, her family, her brand. And finally, the message she left is simple yet profound, that no matter how monumental your career, no matter how many stages you've conquered, you're still human. You still need rest. You still need care. You still need to choose health. And you can still decide you're not done yet. "I ain't done working," she declared. That's not bravado. That's commitment. So as we watch the next chapter of Dolly Parton's journey unfold, let's hold on to that image. The wild-haired country queen, heart full of stories, voice still ready to sing, acknowledging her setbacks, embracing her strength, and reminding us all, standing back up is part of the story. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
On November 16th, 2025, a seemingly routine flight turned into headline-making drama for television star Portia Williams. The Real Housewives of Atlanta alumna, aged 45, boarded a Delta Airlines flight from Las Vegas back to Atlanta after attending the high-profile fan event BravoCon 2025. Moments into her return journey, an altercation erupted that would soon draw the attention of the federal authorities. The story begins at the gate of Las Vegas's airport, where Williams took her seat in first class. The catalyst? Her phone, playing Instagram videos at what she says was a standard volume. The passenger seated next to her, however, saw things very differently. She asked Williams, "So you gonna make me listen to that the whole flight?" Williams responded, "Do you want to?" The passenger said no. Williams told police the woman then snapped, "Well, there's a nicer way to say that." Things escalated when the woman allegedly called Williams a bitch. According to the newly released body cam footage from the Atlanta Police Department, Williams told officers she was upset by the confrontation, admitting she said to the woman, "Get your ugly ass out of here."
Flight attendants intervened, moving the other passenger to a different row because Williams said the woman was irate. Meanwhile, the other side paints a far different picture. The woman alleges the incident began after roughly 25 minutes of Williams's loud phone volume. She claims she asked Williams repeatedly to turn it down. According to her account, Williams then pointed her fingernail so close to her eye that she believed she was about to be physically attacked. She further says Williams knocked her phone out of her hand when she tried to record the situation. She told officers, "I'm afraid she's going to have me killed." Widening the lens, the airport scene in Atlanta becomes important. The plane landed at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where police met the aircraft and interviewed both women along with multiple witnesses. According to the police, the preliminary investigation indicated a verbal dispute that reportedly escalated into a physical dispute during the inbound flight. No one was arrested at the scene. Instead, the matter was forwarded to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for review, since incidents aboard commercial aircraft fall under federal jurisdiction. Now for the compelling twist. In the body cam footage, Williams is being debriefed by officers when two separate passengers approach and defend her. One passenger embraced her and said, "I was there. What I heard was reprehensible. The woman got in your face and gave you the middle finger and was doing things that were completely chaotic to you. I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed. That's why I'm asking if you're okay. I wouldn't be okay." Another witness, seated 2 rows behind Williams, said straightforwardly she did not touch that lady. He recalled the only physical thing Williams did was point at her. And then, out of nowhere, the lady got really animated and started screaming. That witness said the contention originated when the woman next to Williams began shouting. Williams' attorney, Joe Hibachi, issued a statement on November 18th. He asserted that Williams was verbally assaulted by an irate and unhinged passenger without provocation. The passenger then proceeded to make false allegations that were in direct conflict with observations from several eyewitnesses. He emphasized that Williams intends to fully cooperate with authorities and is confident the other passenger will face charges. Williams herself took to social media shortly afterwards, posting, "Leaving BravoCon, I'm filled with all the love and warmth and support from our beautiful fans. I love me again, and I love you all. No more survival mode. We will thrive. We are kicking depression's ass." Amid her divorce finalization in June 2025 from Simon Guobadia, she framed the incident as part of a turbulent year she is intent on turning around. Public reaction erupted across social media. Hashtag Team Porsche supporters point to the body cam footage and the passenger statements backing Williams to argue that she was provoked, victimized, and unfairly accused. Some fans applauded her composed exit from the plane, the presence of law enforcement at the gate, and the dozens of witnesses siding with her description. Meanwhile, skeptics raised questions. A celebrity of Williams' stature aboard a commercial flight, playing videos loudly, sitting first class? Was that behavior entitled? The opposing passenger's version of being scared for my life struck a chord among those who said no one deserves to feel unsafe on an airplane. Even some aviation and legal commentators jumped in. They noted that when incidents turn physical or near physical on an aircraft, they trigger heightened scrutiny and can lead to serious consequences. Let's take a closer look at Williams' background because it adds context. She joined the Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2012 and has since developed a major public profile. Her personal life has been high profile too. She married NFL player Cordell Stewart in 2011, divorced 2013, later married Nigerian-born businessman Simon Guobadia in 2022, and filed for divorce in 2024, finalizing it in June 2025. That divorce and subsequent legal entanglements have been well publicized. In that sense, this flight incident enters at a moment when Williams is already under public scrutiny, rebuilding, rebranding, and now dealing with an unexpected crisis at 30,000 feet. Legally speaking, the key issue is, What comes next? According to the police release, both women were interviewed and the matter forwarded to the FBI. The FBI's Atlanta office confirmed it is aware of the incident and is looking into whether any federal offenses apply. No arrests or federal charges have yet been announced. From a precedent-setting angle, when a dispute occurs mid-flight, investigators look into potential charges like interference with crew members, disorderly conduct on board an aircraft, or even assault. It's unusual, but not unheard of for such incidents to escalate into formal prosecutions, particularly when there is credible threat, actual injury, or passenger recordings. On this case's timeline, flight on November 16th, incident reported at arrival, statements gathered November 18th, 19th, body cam footage released November 19th, and investigation now ongoing. For Williams, the reputational risk is real. Reality TV stars thrive on unflawed public personas, or at least compelling storylines. Being associated with an in-flight altercation can affect brand deals, invitations to high-profile events, her standing within the Bravo network, and the moral high ground often claimed by reality TV personalities. On the other side, if investigators and camera footage vindicate her version of events, Williams could emerge from this affair with sympathy, the public hero who was verbally assaulted and stood her ground. Let's rewalk the micro-timeline. November 16th, flight departs from Las Vegas to Atlanta. Passenger complains about loud volume. Confrontation begins. Arrival at Hartsfield-Jackson same night. Police meet the plane. November 18th, Williams' attorney issues public statement. November 19th, body cam footage released showing Williams and 2 passengers backing her version. Investigation forwarded to the FBI. Today, no formal charges, but both narratives now public and scrutiny mounting. What about the other passenger? Her narrative deserves full airing. She says Williams' phone volume lasted 25 minutes. She asked discreetly to be lowered. According to her, Williams then waved her hands, reduced the distance between her fingernail to her eye, knocked Williams' phone out of her hand when she tried to record the situation, and caused her to fear for her life. If these claims are substantiated via audio, video, cabin crew testimony, or medical reports, the legal implications grow. She also claims the flight attendants could not intervene during takeoff because they were buckled in, adding complexity to how responsibility and timeline are assessed. From the cabin perspective, one of the witnesses described the sequence like this. It started like a normal verbal back and forth. Then, the woman sitting beside Williams got really animated, screaming. The only thing Williams did physically was point at her and say, "Don't talk to me like that." Another witness said Williams did not touch the other passenger. These statements run directly against the other passenger's claims. Which side one believe may hinge on how credible the steward attendant statements are, any video footage from the flight itself, how the seat layout and noise level were perceived, and passenger memory. In terms of media amplification, the footage of Williams deboarding the plane with police escort, calm, composed, went viral. Critics of Williams noted that even if she was provoked, she might have diffused the situation more gracefully. Fans of Williams viewed that moment as proof she was calm and professional. Social media filled with memes, first-class catfight, phone volume war at 30K feet. The Bravo World forums lit up with hashtag #FlyQuiet and hashtag Team Porsche hashtags. Brand watchers are now scanning the incident for its ripple effect. Will Bravo Public Relations treat this as a negative brush that needs damage control, or an event to spin into a narrative of victimization and comeback?
Let's talk airline perspective. Delta has said little publicly beyond confirming that 2 passengers were involved and that the flight landed as scheduled. But internal airline protocols require crew reports when there is any altercation, including verbal, between passengers in flight. When cabin crew intervene, they report to flight deck and likely fill in documents. Because this occurred mid-flight, it crosses into federal jurisdiction, hence the FBI's involvement. The path from first complaint, volume too loud, to potential federal charges underlines how even small disputes can escalate in confined spaces like commercial aircraft. The broader implication? Airlines emphasize that passengers must comply with crew instructions, noise policy, headphone use, and respectful behavior. Ignoring that can turn into headline news.
From the personal brand side, Williams' comment, "No more survival mode, we will thrive," resonates. She has positioned herself publicly as having endured a difficult year, emerging from her divorce, reclaiming her self-love, and now facing a public adversity. In the world of reality TV, this becomes another chapter in her story. Yet the irony remains. She is a public figure used to controlling narrative, but here the narrative slipped out of her hands and into the hands of federal investigators, bystanders, body cam footage, and social media. She will now have to manage not just her reaction, but what the public chooses to believe. What happens next? There are several possible scenarios. 1. The FBI declines to file charges, effectively closing the matter. Williams walks away with minor brand damage, but likely emerges stronger, especially if her fan base rallied. 2. The FBI files federal charges, lesser or more serious, which brings her into a legal spotlight, potentially derailing some professional opportunities. 3. It drags on in civils. The other passenger may file a lawsuit for assault or emotional distress. Williams may countersue. Each scenario comes with reputational, financial, and legal risk. Let's also consider the optics. First class versus economy, celebrity versus regular passenger, social influencer versus everyday traveler. Williams is part of a celebrity ecosystem where behavior is magnified, comments are turned into headlines, and flights that might otherwise be mundane become entertainment fodder. The recitation of 25 minutes of loud Instagram video versus verbal assault without provocation will matter when podcast hosts pick this apart, when late-night talk shows reference it, when Bravo producers consider the next season. Humanizing moment, the witness who approached Williams after the altercation and said, "I'm so embarrassed, are you okay?" That moment reveals the emotional toll travel conflict takes on passengers who are simply trying to get from A to B. Whether you're a celebrity or a regular traveler, being in a cabin where voices rise, someone gives you the middle finger, someone points fingers, it becomes emotionally draining. Williams told that witness, "I'm fine," but the witness replied, "I wouldn't be okay." That emotional contrast is powerful. In the broader cultural context, this incident sits alongside other mid-flight dramas, passengers being unruly, airlines issuing bans, regulators imposing fines. But what's different here is the star power and the released body cam footage. It turns what might have been a footnote into a case study on celebrity conduct, airline protocols, and bystander power. Everyone aboard becomes part of the story. Time should also be spent on how the body cam footage functions as narrative anchor. Prior to the release of that footage, competing claims collided in darkness. With the footage released and two witnesses coming forward to support Williams, the public perception shifts. But even not isn't definitive. Footage captures one moment. Seating charts, sound levels, crew testimony, passenger memories still fill gaps. The frame we saw is what police and news outlets show us now. But behind that lies chaos, noise, fear, emotion. Let's pause on Williams' mindset. Coming off BravoCon 2025, likely high on adrenaline, networking, cameras, fan interactions, then stepped into a 3-hour flight home. She says she was listening to Instagram videos without headphones, perhaps unwinding. The passenger next to her felt disrupted. Two people's realities clashed. Williams' choice to respond verbally, the passenger's decision to escalate, witnesses' choice to step in, all highlight how quickly civility can unravel in a tight space. Williams said, "Get your ugly ass out of here." That moment will be dissected. Victim's pushback or provocation. The other passenger insisted she felt afraid for my life. That phrasing shifts the tone from rude to threatening. So the question remains, did the volume issue become the spark, or was the volume just pretext for something deeper? Another angle, legal counsel already framing this as assault versus defense. Williams' attorney uses language like verbal assault, unhinged passenger, false allegations, and observations from eyewitnesses. That language signals they're preparing for more than a casual apology. They're preparing for legal defense. The opposing side uses knocked my phone, fingernail near my eye, afraid for my life. Stronger language invoking fear, potential threat, bodily harm. If this goes to court or settlement, the rhetorical battle is half the fight. Public sentiment will matter a lot. For Williams, the social media narrative could determine a lot of whether she is perceived as a victim, as a provocateur, or as somewhere in between. The brand ecosystem, Bravo, advertising deals, speaking engagements, often weighs public image heavily. If the narrative becomes oversensitive celebrity misbehaves, that could hurt. If the narrative becomes famous woman verbally attacked and stood her ground, she may benefit. The fact that the body cam witnesses sided with her already gives her an advantage in that narrative fight. Let's not forget that this occurs in the context of a recent divorce. Williams' public statement referenced healing, coming out of survival mode, stepping into thriving. For many fans, that sets the stage. This incident could become the next chapter, a challenge to overcome. Critics might say, why is she drawing attention? Why is she playing videos loudly in first class? All of that now intersects. Coming back to aviation policy, airlines emphasize headphone use, attention to volume, and respect for adjacent passengers. What this incident shows is when a passenger violates those norms, a dispute may begin. When another passenger responds aggressively, a matter escalates. When the celebrity factor kicks in, the visuals roll, authorities step in, federal jurisdiction appears. It's a microcosm of larger issues: entitlement, noise pollution, respect, conflict resolution. The cabin environment is a pressure cooker. Limited space, noise, nerves, flights overbooked, delays, stress. A misunderstanding fuels a shouting match. On this flight, it arguably became more. What lessons might viewers walk away with? Respect your neighbor's space. Volume matters. De-escalation matters. Flight attendants are there for more than coffee. If you're a public figure, your actions, even behind a screen on your phone, can have outsized consequences. And for onlookers, videos, body cams, audio capture everything. The truth may end up on the record. Now let's look ahead. In the immediate next few weeks, we should watch for whether the FBI announces any charges or declines to prosecute, any civil lawsuits filed by the other passenger, statements or interviews from Williams in subsequent episodes of RHOA or talk shows, potential social media posts or brand deal cancellations, and whether Delta or other airlines issue internal memos about cabin behavior highlighted by this incident. Any one of these could shift the narrative significantly. Williams may also appear in Bravo's upcoming season, and this incident could become part of the storyline, either as background or as plot device. Have fans forgotten that Williams began her public career on The Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2012, that she has built a brand, engaged in activism, and developed a following? Many fans will support her now, citing longevity, right to unwind after a big event, and unfair treatment by a stranger. Others will question, why is she drawing attention? Why is she playing videos loudly in first class? All of that now intersects. In closing, we're watching a story in real time. A reality TV star turned traveling commuter, a dispute over volume, an alleged verbal assault, a frightened passenger, eyewitness defenders, law enforcement intervention, body cams, federal investigators, public opinion. The pieces are still falling into place. The truth may lie somewhere in the middle, but one thing is certain: this will be cited in future when celebrities fly, when passengers clash, when phones play loud, when cabin tempers flare. For Portia Williams, this flight may become one of the defining inflection points of her public narrative. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Tatiana Schlossberg's heartbreaking revelation of her terminal cancer diagnosis has shaken the public, the Kennedy legacy, and most of all, her younger brother Jack Schlossberg, who has stepped forward with a quiet but powerful show of support during the most devastating moment of their lives. The news broke through Tatiana's deeply emotional essay published on November 22, 2025, where she revealed that she has been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, with a rare mutation known as inversion 3, a form so aggressive and uncommon that it is typically seen in older patients, not in a 35-year-old mother of two. Her diagnosis came at a moment that should have been joyful. Just hours after giving birth to her second child in May 2024, doctors flagged dangerously abnormal blood work. What began as a routine postpartum check spiraled into a medical emergency that uprooted her life. Tatiana described the harrowing timeline of the last year and a half: 5 weeks in the hospital immediately after childbirth, transfers between major cancer centers, multiple rounds of chemotherapy, a stem cell transplant using her sister's T-cells in a clinical trial, another transplant from an unrelated donor, CAR T-cell therapy, and countless complications stacked on top of each other. She wrote with heartbreaking clarity about the moment a doctor told her she might only have about a year to live. A moment she said tore through her identity as a daughter, a sister, and most painfully, a mother. She confessed her deepest fear, that her 2 young children might grow up with no memory of her at all, that photos and stories would have to replace experiences she will not live long enough to share with them.
She spoke of the physical toll, her muscles wasting away, losing the ability to hold her newborn, missing precious milestones, losing the first year of her daughter's life to a hospital bed. But she also described the emotional toll on her family, saying that her parents, Caroline Kennedy and Edwin Schlossberg, along with her siblings Rose and Jack, have been raising my children and sitting in my various hospital rooms almost every day, holding her hand while trying to hide their own heartbreak. Her words carried the weight of the Kennedy family's long history of tragedy, a lineage marked with loss that she feels she has now added to in a way that she cannot stop or reverse. Just days before her essay shocked the world, her brother Jack Schlossberg had launched his congressional campaign for New York's 12th district. But the moment the public learned of Tatiana's condition, his attention shifted. In a subtle but deeply meaningful gesture, Jack shared images on Instagram, a road, a sky, with the words, "Life is short, let it rip." It was a short phrase, but coming from a brother who has carried his family's legacy and now carries the weight of his sister's suffering, it felt like a rallying cry, a vow of support, and a recognition of life's sudden, brutal fragility. Jack's reaction has drawn strong public empathy. Supporters, political observers, and ordinary Americans have all noted how he seemed to put aside his campaign momentum to stand firmly with his sister. Many praised the quiet dignity of his message, not a lengthy statement, not a press event, just a small but powerful moment of solidarity. Family, friends, and public figures have also reacted, with voices across social media describing Tatiana's essay as one of the most honest, brave, and emotionally raw pieces they've ever read. Many highlighted the strength of the Schlossberg siblings, a close trio who have faced life together under the spotlight since childhood. Tatiana also included a sharp critique of health policies recently enacted by her cousin, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who currently serves as U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services. She wrote that from her hospital bed, she watched decisions being made that she believes undermine essential medical research, including mRNA-based treatments and cancer immunotherapy, the very fields connected to her survival. Her words added a surprising political spark to an otherwise deeply personal revelation, underscoring how illness can intersect with public policy in life-altering ways. For viewers unfamiliar with the family's background, Tatiana is the daughter of Caroline Kennedy, former U.S. ambassador and the eldest child of President John F. Kennedy. Born in 1990, she is the second of three siblings, Rose, Tatiana, and Jack. She married George Morin in 2017 and is the mother of two young children, a son born in 2022 and a daughter born in 2024. Her diagnosis, revealed to the world on November 22nd, carries symbolic weight. It came on the 62nd anniversary of President Kennedy's assassination, a date forever tied to both private and national mourning. The Kennedy family has long been associated with triumph and tragedy, and Tatiana's revelation adds a new chapter that feels deeply human and painfully real. Her words show the vulnerability behind the famous name, a young mother fighting a terminal illness, a family rallying together, a brother stepping into the public eye while privately navigating heartbreak. Jack's Instagram message, though brief, has become a symbol of resilience, a reminder to live fully, loudly, and fearlessly, even in the shadow of overwhelming grief. As the world watches, the story continues to evolve. Supporters hope for updates on Tatiana's treatments, on the family's public statements, and on how Jack moves forward with his campaign while carrying this emotional burden. But at the center of it all is a family holding on to each other, cherishing precious time, and navigating a future filled with uncertainty. Life is fragile, and this moment has reminded millions that even the most iconic families face the same heartbreaks as everyone else. Jack Schlossberg's support for Tatiana stands as a powerful reminder of the bonds that truly matter: love, loyalty, and the strength to stand together in the darkest times. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
North West is back in the spotlight, and this time she isn't just making a cameo. At age 12, daughter of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, she fronts the brand new 2025 holiday campaign for her mother's fashion empire, SKIMS. It's been 5 years since she last appeared in a SKIMS campaign, in 2020, and now she's stepping into a starring role with bold visuals, high style, family legacy, and fierce public attention. From the moment the imagery dropped, the message was clear: Everybody's wearing SKIMS, voiced by North herself, hair dipped in electric blue braids cascading past her waist, nails matching, outfit coordinated in the limited edition capsule created with Cactus Plant Flea Market. The scene, a festive holiday dining room setting, models gathered around a tree, each piece of loungewear layered with seasonal motifs, snowmen, teddy bears, doves. North stands out, in a black zip-up hoodie, matching sweatpants, knee-high fluffy white boots, that signature braid trail. It's a moment of visual storytelling. Comfort meets hyper-fashion meets family brand legacy. Kim's own words underline the significance. Having North in this campaign makes it really special for me. She brings so much personality to the pieces. The nod is more than just motherhood pride. It's about positioning North as someone who isn't just a mini version of her mama, but a persona in her own right. Wheel spin ready for a next phase. For North, who made her runway debut as young as 5 and appeared in a SKIMS ad with mom and sister then, this is a reclamation. She's grown, evolved, and now she models hers. Because of that time gap, the 5-year pause, this campaign reads as a reintroduction. Between 2020 and 2025, North absorbed public scrutiny, lived in the glare of celebrity parenting, and cultivated style choices that caused conversation. Fake tattoos, a visible dermal middle finger piercing, corset and miniskirt appearances in Rome, bold makeup and accessories for a preteen. Some praised her self-expression. Others questioned whether a 12-year-old belongs in the fashion orbit she inhabits. Kim admitted that we made that mistake in front of the whole world, reinforcing that the journey has been public, messy, evolving. But now the message flips. This campaign isn't just about controversy, it's about craft. The CPFM X SKIMS capsule launches November 20th at noon and is built for the holiday lounge market. Cozy, seasonal, playful, but elevated. North's role gives it cultural cachet. She's the bridge between comfort brand and influencer generation. She's the daughter, but also the model in making. Public reaction exploded. On Instagram and X, fans celebrated North's confidence, her blue braid look, how she owns it. "So grown up, what a cutie," wrote a commenter. Critics, though, didn't hold back. "She is a child," one voice responded, referencing the piercing. Another, "This is what happens when you need to be your child's best friend and not a rational adult." The dichotomy is sharp. Admiration for style and agency, worry about exposure and age. Kim, for her part, asked for a little bit of grace, reminding audiences that parenting a soon-to-be teenager in public is complicated. Let's talk context. SKIMS launched in 2019. Since then, it's partnered with major celebrities, from Cardi B to Heidi Klum to Usher, building a loungewear empire. The brand naming the capsule CPFM X SKIMS signals a crossover energy. Streetwear meets shape-centric comfort. High fashion meets holiday mood. And by dropping North into the mix, they extend the narrative. Legacy plus youth, mom's brand next-gen fresh face, generational handoff. For North, whose personal brand is emerging, this moment is pivotal. Not just Kim's daughter in an ad, but Northwest model. Narratively, we have layers. The child star turned tween model, the influence of celebrity parenting, style choices that provoke, brand strategy that leverages family, public reactions that swing between idolizing and infantilizing. A holiday campaign that masks as cozy, but is heavy with commercial intent. And the question underneath it all, what does it mean when a 12-year-old sits at the table of a major fashion campaign? There's another thread, the notion of validation. North asked, "Mom, I grew up sitting in your lap when you were getting your makeup done. Your team has been my teachers. Why can't I try it?" That quote shifts the picture. It's not just about being seen, it's about ownership. And Kim's response, part hesitation, part acceptance, reveals the tension of being mom and brand boss at once. From the creative side, the blue braids are symbolic. They recall her Aunt Jyler Kenner's King Kylie era, a branding cue if there ever was one. The graphic sweatshirt, the styling of white boots with a cozy loungewear set, it screams influencer ready,
social scroll stopping. The drop date, November 20th, means this campaign is timed for both holiday gifting and viral content. Yes, a campaign built for likes, shares, and headlines. Now looking at potential long-term impact. If North continues this path, she could become a regular within SKIMS or even branch out into her own modeling endeavors. For the brand, they've captured the next generation moment. But there are risks. Backlash, critique of childhood commodification, the delicate balance of freedom versus exposure. It's worth also noting how the family dynamics play into the narrative. Kanye's relative absence in the public parenting space has often been noted. North's visibility in this campaign becomes a statement. The Kardashian side of the family building, pushing forward. Kim's comments that the public nature of their lives means learning at the same time acknowledge that this isn't just marketing, it's personal. So here's how you'll want to follow it. Watch for how North's style evolves post-campaign. Pay attention to SKIMS' next marketing moves. Will North appear again? Will the brand lean further into youth? Monitor the public conversation about young teen influencers in major brand campaigns and see whether North becomes a bridge figure, not only family legacy, but independent creative. In short, this campaign is more than just holiday loungewear. It's a generational moment. A 12-year-old stepping into a major fashion brand campaign under the spotlight, wrapped in brand strategy, tied to family legacy, met with public cheers and concerns. It's high stakes, polished, emotional. Make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
The world of country-crossing music just got a little more intriguing when Shaboozey stepped up and publicly questioned Jelly Roll's new clean-shaven look. It wasn't just a throwaway comment, it echoed a moment of identity, reinvention, and public expectation. We're diving deep into that moment, what it means, how fans reacted, and where this leaves both artists. To start, let's set the scene. Jelly Roll, whose real name is Jason Bradley DeFord, has been known for a rugged, full-bearded appearance for nearly a decade. His beard became as much a part of his brand as the music, part of that come-from-nowhere, fought-through-it persona. But on November 13th, 2025, he shocked fans by shaving it off for the first time in roughly 10 years. In an Instagram video posted by his wife, Bunny XO, she teased the reveal. "You guys, I have been with my husband for going on 10 years now. I have never seen this man without his facial hair. Not one freaking time," she said. And then teased, because now that he's so skinny, look at that jawline. We want to see that jawline, right, ladies? The clip showed Jelly trying on different facial hairstyles, goatee, mustache, before going fully barefaced and family/friends reacting. "What the I am scared," and "oh my god, I'm gonna cry." Meanwhile, Jelly himself joked, "We're trying to see if a facelift might be in order." That one act, removing the beard, is more than just a trimming of hair. It symbolizes transformation. Jelly Roll has been on a weight loss journey for years, dropping over 200 pounds since 2022, moving away from the morbidly obese label that weighed heavily in his past. Now the absence of the beard opens up a fresh canvas, a new jawline, a new look, perhaps a new phase of his career. His wife posted the clip, but as of now, the full public reveal of his face still hasn't happened. Fans wait with bated breath for the official photo or video drop. Enter Shaboozey. At the 2025 Country Music Awards in Nashville on November 19th, Shaboozey, nominated for New Artist of the Year, walked the red carpet, and when asked if he'd seen Jelly's new look, he admitted, "I haven't, they told me about it," and then quipped, "It's giving Snapchat filter, man." Then he added, "We missed the beard, man, come back soon, grow that out." That line, "giving Snapchat filter," caught fire. It suggests disbelief, surprise, a kind of "is this real life or digital trickery" vibe. And the fact that someone in the industry is asking the question publicly adds weight to the story. So why is this moment so compelling? To break it down, number one, the beard as brand.
For Jelly Roll, the beard wasn't just facial hair. It was part of his identity. When you think of Jelly Roll, you thought of the beard, the tattooed hands, the gritty voice that rose from the ashes of addiction, prison, hardship. His image said, "I made it through hell. I carry the scars." The moment that beard is gone, the image shifts. That shift invites curiosity. What's next? Are we looking at the same man or a new version of him? 2. The weight loss journey. Jelly Roll's body transformation has been very public. Losing over 200 pounds is no small feat. Why now the beard? It becomes part of the reveal of that transformation. Bunny's comment about "now that he's so skinny, look at that jawline," signals the physical change as the impetus. The beard maybe used to hide the jawline. Now the jawline is exposed. It's not just a style change, it's a statement. New body, new face, new era. Finally, number 3, fan expectation and shock value. Fans were stunned. In reaction videos and social media comments, 2 things stood out. 1, shock and disbelief, like, who is that man without the beard? 2, admiration. He looks handsome. The beard had become familiar, safe in a sense. Removing it jolts that familiarity. The viral clip of Bunny's reaction added emotion. Someone seeing a loved one in a new way for the first time. That triggers empathy and curiosity. Number 4, industry commentary. Shaboozey's comment is key because it's peer commentary. He's not just a fan, he's part of the same country music circle. When he publicly questions, "Is this a Snapchat filter?" that implies the change is so dramatic, it looks unreal. And that hint of playful judgment plus genuine surprise adds layers. It's not malicious, it's astonishment. And that gives the story extra flavor. And finally, number 5, the anticipation of reveal. Here's the hook. Jelly Roll has teased the look but hasn't dropped the full public reveal. According to posts, he will show the look when he's ready. That delay builds suspense. Fans, media, other artists are waiting. When it drops, it'll be a notable moment because this isn't just a new hairstyle, it's a new face to the public. Let's go further into emotional highlights. Imagine Bunny's point of view. 10 years of never seeing her husband without facial hair. Think of the moment when the blade goes across the beard, the hair falls, the jawline emerges, the shock in her expression, covering her mouth, laughter, tears. That's raw vulnerability, opening a window into the private behind the scenes of celebrity transformation. Then friends and family viewing via FaceTime or in the room. "Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. What the I am scared." That's raw emotion, not scripted PR. It resonates because the audience knows this man, and now he's changed. The narrative becomes, can I still recognize him? Do I still like him? And why do such changes affect us? In public perception, the removal of the beard lifts one barrier between the star and the audience. Now the face is more visible, the expressions more readable, perhaps the vulnerability more exposed. Some fans praised handsome, some lamented bring back the beard. That tension reflects broader themes. How much of an artist's image do we own as fans? When an artist changes that image, are fans supportive or resistant? Jelly Roll's move tests that relationship. Now, segue into Shaboozey's role. In his red carpet interview, wearing his cowboy ad and Western-style jacket, he's representing the new guard of country. As someone nominated for New Artist of the Year, he's building his own brand. His reaction to Jelly's change frames him as both insider and spokesman for fans. His saying, "We miss the beard," is playful but meaningful. He echoes the fan sentiment. He sets the tone. It's like he's saying, old version, we liked you. New version, we're watching. That kind of commentary adds heat to the story. Let's also walk through a timeline of key moments. Over 2022 to 2025, Jelly Roll underwent a major weight loss journey, shedding 200 plus pounds. November 13th, 2025, wife Bunny EXO posts IG video teasing beard removal, shows process. November 16th through 17th, 2025, media pick up the story, online fan reactions explode. November 20th, 2025, Country Music Awards red carpet, Shaboozey publicly comments, "It's giving Snapchat filter." Still pending is official public reveal by Jelly Roll of his clean-shaven look. Social sharing remains limited, adding to the suspense. And here's more layers. The industry context. Jelly Roll is at a career peak, touring internationally, including Australia for the first time, headline shows, crossover between country and rap and rock. Changing his look at this moment could suggest a deliberate pivot. It could be tied to a new album, new singles, new brand endorsements. Artists often change looks to signal evolution. Maybe this is Jelly saying, "I'm leveled up." What will that look like? New music, new persona, a deeper dive into personal growth. Consider the symbolic meaning of the beard. Some cultures view the beard as maturity, gravitas, persona. In music, beards have been part of many rock and country icons. When you remove it, you discard that signal. Jelly Roll removing his beard is like shedding an old skin. The audience naturally wonders, is the man inside still the same, or is that chapter closed? Fan comments across platforms capture the spectrum. Some write, "Stop messing with the beard, I liked it." Others, "Now he looks like a model, jawline on point." The surprise that a man known for rugged authenticity now has clean lines is a shift. One comment called the moment, "The boldest part isn't the weight loss, it's baring your face when your look was your trademark." That speaks powerfully to personal branding and risk. Let's also explore what this might mean for Jelly's music and public narrative. When you change your face, you force people to ask, who am I looking at? For an artist whose songs are heavily grounded in storytelling about his past, addiction, prison, redemption, survival, changing the look opens new storytelling possibilities. Maybe now he'll focus on redemption after transformation, or the next chapter of success and new identity. The look change could be the visual prologue to a conceptual album around new me, rebirth, face revealed, light versus dark. For fans, this creates anticipation beyond just the face. It creates curiosity about what the artist will do next.
What about Shaboozey's comment, "Snapchat filter"? Let's unpack that. Snapchat filters distort or enhance faces, make them smoother, younger, paler, slimmer. By invoking that metaphor, Shaboozey signals that Jelly's new appearance is almost too flawless or too dramatically different to believe. It's playful, but also suggests, wait, is that really you? That phrase went viral in comments. People screenshot that line, tweeted it, tagged friends with Snapchat filter jokes. Shaboozey inadvertently became part of the story, the commentator as well as the subject. For your video audience, this commentary offers a hook. It's not just beard gone, it's industry reaction. Next, let's forecast what might unfold. In the coming weeks, we expect Jelly Roll to drop the official full public look reveal, possibly tied to a new single or album announcement. Expect social posts, maybe a music video that highlights the bare face, the transformation. Expect media interviews where Jelly might open up about why he finally shaved, what the look means. Expect fans and other artists to comment, some supportive, some nostalgic for the old beard. Expect memes and hashtag trends like hashtag beard back or hashtag Jelly new face. That moment of public reveal likely becomes a viral moment. For Shaboozey, his comment gives him visibility. He's part of the conversation. That could boost his profile and positioning within the country community, especially among newer fans paying attention to celebrity looks and viral buzz. Let's examine possible underlying motivations for Jelly Roll's decision. The weight loss emphasized his changed body. The beard may have been hiding parts of his face he now wanted to show off.
a photo sheet dictated the change. His wife said the removal was in honor of his shoot today. So maybe there is a campaign, a branding effort, an album artwork requiring a fresh face. It could be an emotional milestone. Shedding the beard signals shedding the old self, the old protagonist identity, heavy, struggling, bearded, gritty, and entering a healed, slimmer, cleaner chapter. Artistically, it could be a renewal. He might want to be seen differently, not just the man with the beard singing survival songs, but the man looking ahead, confident, renewed. Now, let's talk about risk. Every transformation comes with risk. Some fans might feel alienated. They loved the beard, the rough edge. Some might question authenticity. Are you still the same man I connected with? The industry watchers will ask, does the music change? Does the persona change? So Jelly crossing that threshold is bold. By shaving, he invited commentary, and he got it. Let's layer in how the media and social commentary responded. Some outlets ran headlines like, Jelly Roll shaves his beard for the first time in 10 years, or wife's reaction to the shave leaves fans stunned. Social media lit up with before and after pics, side-by-side comparisons, jawline stare-downs. Many posts complimented his look, some joked about filters and disbelief. Family and friends' reactions in the clip added a personal dimension that made it go viral beyond just music fans. The sentiment ranged from, whoa, did they edit that? To, he looks amazing, to bring the beard back. The diversity of reaction underscores how invested fans were in his image. Let's also think about timing. It happens just as he's touring internationally, including Australia, for the first time as a headliner. Changing the look now means reaching new global audiences under a new image. That expands the stakes. Meanwhile, Shaboozey, walking the CMA red carpet right after, amplifies the moment. His comment becomes a viral soundbite. In your video presentation, you can imagine the build-up. Show the beard legacy, the weight loss timeline, the Instagram teaser, the family reaction, the Shaboozey comment, and then the global fan reaction. Use visuals of before-after, with rights or via Media General. Then pivot to what this means for identity, branding, and music. Then speculate on next moves and wrap up with viewer questions. What do you think of the new look? Does it change your perception of the artist? Are you ready for the new phase? For the dramatic moment, emphasize the jawline reveal. The moment Bunny covers her mouth in shock. The friends watching via FaceTime. The, "What the F? I'm scared!" quote. Then emphasize Shaboozey saying, "It's giving Snapchat filter, man." That phrase anchors the video. Important, this is not only a quirky celebrity gossip story. It's about transformation, authenticity, and public image. The beard represented the past. Its removal signals a future. For viewers who may not know much about Jelly Roll's backstory, you cover that. Early life, struggle with addiction, prison, rise to success, brand of heaviness and honesty. Then highlight the weight loss and the beard removal. That way, new viewers are fully oriented. Also cover Shaboozey's background briefly, up-and-coming country artist, nominated for New Artist of the Year at the CMA Awards, walking the red carpet, building brand. Comment gives him presence. That context helps even new viewers follow. As you proceed, integrate the emotional arcs. Jelly's journey from heavy to slim, from beard to bare face. Fans' journey from recognition to surprise. Shaboozey's commentary from peer to observer. Then end with what this signals for the future of the genre. Maybe country music is embracing more transformation, more cross-genre visuals, more direct engagement with image. The moment shows that other artists' looks matter, that fans are invested in more than the music. They're invested in identity. You can close the script with these key questions to engage the audience. Will Jelly Roll drop the photo first or the single? Will he keep this look or revert? Will the music reflect this new face? Will fans embrace or resist? It creates a natural lead-in to your call to action. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this. Nicole Kidman has shared a rare and emotional personal update as the news of her divorce from Keith Urban continues to shape headlines, marking the end of one of Hollywood's most admired love stories after 19 years of marriage. This update comes at a time when the public has been watching closely ever since reports confirmed that the couple separated earlier in the year and that Nicole officially filed for divorce in late September, citing irreconcilable differences. While the world has seen celebrity breakups before, this one feels different because for nearly 2 decades, Nicole and Keith represented devotion, resilience, and partnership through fame, career pressures, and personal challenges. Now, Nicole's words are offering the first glimpse into how she is coping privately while the world discusses her marriage publicly. And her tone reveals a woman navigating heartbreak with poise, reflection, and maternal focus. The renewed attention began when credible outlets confirmed that Nicole and Keith had been living apart since early summer, long before the divorce became public knowledge. Keith had been deeply immersed in touring commitments, traveling across the United States, Australia, and Europe, while Nicole was tied to a demanding filming schedule and promotional duties for her upcoming projects. For months, fans speculated about their absence from each other's public appearances, but most assumed it was simply work pulling them in different directions. It wasn't until reports surfaced confirming their separation that those earlier signs suddenly appeared like a trail of breadcrumbs, leading to a conclusion no one wanted to accept. Even then, the couple remained silent, refusing to comment, refusing to feed speculation, and refusing to turn their personal pain into a public spectacle. The silence continued until now, with Nicole offering her first emotional acknowledgement during a recent conversation tied to her film work. She didn't speak directly about the divorce proceedings, but she did speak about the emotional weight she has been carrying, saying she has been hanging in there, relying on the support of the women around her, and finding strength in being protected and loved by her co-stars. She emphasized that this period of her life has been intense, transformative, and deeply personal. She spoke about healing, about grounding herself, and about prioritizing her daughters above all else. Her words were subtle but unmistakably connected to the end of her marriage, and they landed with the impact of a confession without ever needing to be explicit. For audiences who have followed Nicole and Keith's story from the beginning, this moment feels like a turning point. They first married in 2006 in a romantic ceremony in Sydney, a union that felt like a fairy tale following Nicole's painful breakup from Tom Cruise years earlier. Keith became the love she chose after heartbreak, the partner who stood beside her during career triumphs and life challenges, including his own very public battle with addiction, a battle Nicole helped him face, support, and overcome. Together, they welcomed daughters Sunday Rose in 2008 and Faith Margaret in 2010, raising them with intention, privacy, and stability far from the usual Hollywood chaos. Their family photos, red carpet embraces, and mutual admiration in interviews painted a picture of rare longevity in an industry where marriages often crumble under the spotlight. That history is why this divorce feels so heavy for fans, because their love was woven into the cultural memory of a generation that believed some celebrity marriages could last. Yet even the strongest partnerships can fracture under pressure, and insiders say the demands of maintaining 2 global careers while parenting and constantly traveling took a toll. Reports indicate the physical distance between them this year was not merely circumstantial, but symbolic of a deeper emotional distance that had been growing quietly over time. Some sources suggest Keith may have been the one emotionally ready to step away first, though this remains unconfirmed. Other whispers claim Nicole initiated the legal filing only after attempts at reconciliation faded. But even here, rumors meet resistance because those closest to the couple insist the decision was mutual, respectful, and focused on co-parenting. Still, no divorce of this magnitude escapes speculation. Online discussions have split into passionate camps. Some commenters express sympathy for Nicole, praising her for grace, maturity, and resilience. They point out that she has carried herself with calm dignity, refusing to lash out or weaponize the media. Others criticize her, harshly questioning questioning her warmth and suggesting she prioritizes career over intimacy, a familiar narrative often unfairly projected on successful women. Meanwhile, Keith has faced his own wave of scrutiny, especially after performing without his wedding ring and altering lyrics in songs once believed to be inspired by Nicole. Some fans saw that as symbolic closure, while others accused him of moving on too quickly. The truth remains unclear, and without official statements, most interpretations are built on emotion rather than evidence. Adding complexity, fact-checkers recently exposed that several viral quotes attributed to both Nicole and Keith were actually AI-generated fabrications created and spread online without verification. Those false statements circulated widely, fueling outrage and confusion until reputable agencies debunked them. That incident highlights the danger of digital misinformation, especially when public curiosity collides with algorithm-driven gossip. It also underscores why Nicole's carefully chosen words now carry such weight, because they are authentic, rare, and free from manipulation. But beyond public reaction, what resonates most in Nicole's update is her emphasis on motherhood. She made it clear that her daughters are at the center of her decisions, her coping process, and her emotional priorities. Reports suggest the divorce filing included a structured custody framework designed to ensure stability, continuity, and minimal disruption for the girls. Those who have followed Nicole's journey know that motherhood has always been her anchor, from her early adoption experience to the quieter, more private parenting chapter she built with Keith. Now, as she steps into life after marriage, that anchoring role appears even more central. As for Keith, he remains deeply embedded in his music career, continuing his tour dates and public commitments while maintaining silence about the divorce. Some fans view his quietness as respectful, others interpret it as avoidance, and a smaller contingent uses it as a canvas for assumptions. Yet without words from him, the narrative remains incomplete. What is certain is that their paths, once intertwined, are now running parallel rather than together, and the public is witnessing the unfolding in real time. This moment marks a shift, not only in their personal lives, but in how the public will view them moving forward. They are no longer a unit. They are individual figures redefining themselves after nearly 20 years of being seen as one. Nicole's update reflects that transition, a soft acknowledgement that the chapter has ended, paired with a determination to move forward with dignity. For viewers just catching up, the timeline helps ground the story. They married in 2006, they built a family between 2008 and 2010, they weathered addictions, separations due to filming and touring, and relentless media attention. They were rumored to be breaking up many times, only to reappear united. But in early summer of this year, they quietly separated. In late September, Nicole filed for divorce. In October, Keith appeared publicly without his wedding ring. In November, Nicole finally shared how she is emotionally navigating the transition. Now the world watches as she steps into this next phase, reflective, vulnerable, and fiercely protective of her children. And despite the sadness of the moment, there is also admiration in how she is choosing to carry herself. No theatrics, no mudslinging, no spectacle, just honesty, composure, and a willingness to heal. What happens next remains unwritten. Will they speak publicly later? Will they remain silent forever? Will co-parenting become their new shared identity? Only time will reveal those answers. But for now, Nicole's words offer the clearest signal yet. She is acknowledging the heartbreak, honoring her emotions, and moving forward with quiet strength. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Kelsey Grammer's daughter, Greer Grammer, is opening up like never before, revealing a deeply emotional and shockingly complicated story that most people never knew about. And despite growing up with one of the most recognizable last names in Hollywood, Greer's reality was far from privileged, far from glamorous, and in her own words, far from what anyone assumes about her childhood. Today, her confession about a 12-year estrangement from her father is sending shockwaves across the entertainment world, reshaping public perception of both her and the legendary actor who raised America's most beloved TV psychiatrist, Dr. Fraser Crane. The truth is that for more than a decade of her life, Greer Grammer barely knew her father. She wasn't raised on studio sets, she wasn't basking in Hollywood luxury, she wasn't surrounded by celebrity circles or guided into show business by an influential parent.
Instead, she grew up watching her father from afar, literally on television, wondering why the man she saw adored by millions wasn't present in her real life. And now she's opening the vault of memories she once locked away, sharing intimate details about abandonment, longing, reconciliation, and healing. Greer Grammer was born in 1992 to Kelsey Grammer and Barry Buckner, a relationship that didn't last long and left Greer growing up primarily with her mother. For the first few years, Greer has faint memories of her father being around, moments that she describes as flashes of childhood, tiny snapshots of a man who would eventually become a stranger. She remembers going to a preschool play where he showed up, she remembers glimpses of his presence, and she remembers a party she attended when she was very young, just one of those memories that sits blurry at the back of the mind, yet feels significant. But then, quite suddenly and without explanation, those moments stopped, the phone calls stopped, the visits stopped, the father-daughter connections stopped. Greer revealed that she has no clear memory of when the absence actually began. Her therapist asked her once if she remembered the exact moment she realized he was no longer part of her daily life, and she said no. She believes her mind may have blocked it out for a reason, but what she does remember is the confusion, the quiet hurt, and the loneliness of growing up knowing the world admired her father, while she spent years wondering if he even remembered her birthday. For 12 years, Greer and her father were essentially estranged, not by her choice, not by some dramatic falling out, but simply by distance, silence, and circumstances she was too young to understand. And this is where the emotions rise in the story, because as she grew older, she became painfully aware of the contrast between her life and the lives of the children her father was raising more actively. Greer recalls sitting at the kitchen counter doing homework while her mother watched a television segment. On the screen was her father, smiling, comfortable, happy, discussing a home he had purchased in the Hamptons for his family. She watched him with his other children, his other life, his other world. And even as a child, she understood that whatever she was seeing didn't include her. She said she didn't think, oh, that's the life I could be living, but rather, that's the life I was never part of. That kind of realization can shape a person. It can create insecurities, it can create identity questions. And Greer admits she struggled with all of it. She even wrote letters to her father when she was a little girl, letters that resembled fan mail more than messages from a daughter. In those letters, she asked questions like, "Do you think of me?" and "Do you miss me?" She didn't write to get something from him. She wrote simply to feel like she existed to him. And perhaps the most heartbreaking detail is that she never got a response. For years, Greer built her own life without her father. She went to school, discovered her passion for performing, competed in pageants, and eventually became Miss Teen Malibu. And yet, with every achievement, there was always the shadow of a father who wasn't there to see it. There was one unexpected moment when she briefly crossed paths with him long before the official reunion happened. She was 11 years old, wandering through a Blockbuster video store, when she suddenly saw her father. Instead of running toward him, she ran away. She hid. She wasn't ready. She didn't know what to say. And she didn't know whether he would recognize her or pretend not to. For an 11-year-old girl, that kind of emotional overwhelm is almost unimaginable. But everything changed when she turned 16. As Miss Teen Malibu, she was doing community service at a Christmas tree lot, one of those volunteer events meant to help the city while promoting the pageant. It was supposed to be an ordinary afternoon, but fate had other plans. Standing a short distance away was her father, with his then-wife Camille Grammer and their children. She noticed him, but she didn't know whether to approach. 12 years of distance is a long time to cross with a single step. Then, out of nowhere, Kelsey Grammer approached her. He looked at her closely, almost studying her features, before asking gently, "Are you Greer?" It was the moment she had unconsciously waited for her entire life. A moment filled with confusion, relief, fear, hope, and disbelief all at once. She said, "Yes, I am." And for the first time in 12 years, they actually spoke. That single exchange led them to meeting again for lunch the following week. They talked, they caught up, they filled gaps that had been empty for more than a decade. Kelsey asked her about college, about what she wanted to do with her life, about her interests, about her dreams. And for the first time, Greer felt like her father was acknowledging her as a young woman with a future. It didn't magically fix their relationship, but it opened the door to creating one. Over the years, Greer and her father slowly built something real. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't seamless, it wasn't a storybook reunion, but it was theirs. She had suddenly entered a world that had always been tied to her, yet never opened to her. She met siblings she barely knew, she saw glimpses of the life he lived without her, and she learned to accept both the good and the complicated parts of reconnecting with a parent who wasn't present during the most formative years of her life. Even now, as an adult, Greer admits that she is still processing it all in therapy. She is still trying to understand the emotional impact of those missing years. She is still exploring the ways her childhood shaped her adulthood. And she is still reconciling the dual identity of being a grandma by name, but not by upbringing. One of the most surprising and painful parts of her public confession came when she addressed the label Nepo baby. In Hollywood, the term has become a way to describe children who benefit from their parents' fame. And on the surface, Greer fits the description, a celebrity daughter pursuing acting. But she says this perception couldn't be further from the truth. People assume she grew up with influence, connections, and open doors. They assume she was raised in luxury, surrounded by opportunity. But in reality, she says the only thing she got from her father for most of her life was his last name. And even that came with more questions than advantages. She wasn't raised on movie sets, she wasn't handed roles, she wasn't guided by a famous father. She built her acting career on her own, driven by passion, not nepotism. And the emotional weight of being called a Nepo baby feels unfair to her because it erases her actual lived experience. While Greer speaks openly about her past, Kelsey Grammer himself has acknowledged shortcomings in his relationships with his older children. He has spoken publicly about regrets, about mistakes, and about wanting to be better. He has said that although he wasn't always present, he believes it's never too late to show up for his kids. His family life has been complex, stretched across several marriages, multiple children, and personal struggles that have played out both privately and publicly. As for Greer, she continues to move forward with determination, clarity, and emotional honesty. She is not trying to villainize her father. She is simply sharing her truth, a truth shaped by absence, by longing, by unexpected reunion, and by the complicated process of rebuilding a relationship that was once lost. She is not hiding the pain she experienced, but she is also not denying the growth that has come from speaking about it. Her story is resonating with thousands of people, not because she's a celebrity, but because her experience reflects something deeply human, the desire to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be loved by a parent. Her vulnerability opens conversations about emotional abandonment, healing, resilience, and the complexity of family relationships. And in sharing her journey, Greer is rewriting the narrative people have always assumed about her. She is reclaiming her identity not as the daughter of a famous actor, but as a woman who overcame a silent childhood wound and turned it into a story of rebuilding, forgiveness, and truth. Her courage in opening up not only sheds light on her own life, but also reveals a more nuanced side of Kelsey Grammer, one that includes mistakes, regrets, and efforts to reconnect. It shows that behind the fame, behind the iconic roles, behind the Hollywood legacy, there are real human experiences, real emotions, and real complexities that even the brightest spotlight cannot erase. Greer Grammer's story is a reminder that family is not perfect, fame is not protection, and healing is not a straight line. It is fragile, layered, and deeply personal. And sometimes the most powerful thing a person can do is tell the truth about where they come from.
MGK has captured the spotlight once again after sharing a new and tender glimpse of his and Megan Fox's baby girl saga, a moment that instantly reignited worldwide fascination with their evolving relationship, their family dynamic, and the emotional chapter they are currently moving through. The footage, showing MGK in a quiet, vulnerable moment before a show, included a brief but meaningful interaction with little Saga, and fans immediately recognized it as one of the rarest looks into his life as a father to his newborn daughter. With Saga born on March 27, 2025, she is still only months old, making every sighting deeply notable, especially because both MGK and Meghan have been selective, protective, and intentional about what they reveal. The glimpse, featuring MGK calling the moment the best start to his day, spread across social platforms, where viewers celebrated the soft sincerity in his voice, the gentleness of the interaction, and the emotional growth on display. This rare update comes after months of public curiosity surrounding MGK and Megan Fox's personal lives, especially after their breakup and gradual movement into a co-parenting rhythm. Even though they have not officially reunited romantically, the shared presence around their daughter has sparked ongoing speculation that their bond may be shifting again. Meghan has previously spoken about her postpartum journey, marking it as a time of physical healing, emotional recalibration, and internal strength building. This context gives new weight to MGK's recent glimpse of Saga, suggesting unity, respect, and quiet connection during a deeply transitional season for both of them. Unlike the theatrical, fiery era that defined the earlier years of their relationship, this new phase feels softer, calmer, and more grounded in family, reflection, and personal evolution. To understand why this moment exploded across pop culture, it helps to revisit the intensity of their history. MGK and Meghan first met in 2020 and became immediately enveloped in a whirlwind of passion, symbolism, and cosmic language. They referred to each other as soul-bound mirrors, twin flames, and spiritual counterparts. Their engagement in 2022 became one of the most sensational celebrity announcements of the decade, complete with mysticism, emotional vows, and a ring described as intentionally painful to remove. Their red carpet appearances became artistic statements, and their relationship turned into a cultural phenomenon powered by desire, rebellion, tenderness, and chaos intertwined. Fans weren't just watching a romance, they were watching two public identities fuse into a mythic storyline. But the fire eventually cracked. Public signs of separation appeared: removed photos, cryptic captions, distance at events, emotional hints of betrayal, and Meghan openly addressing personal transformation. The couple stepped into an uncertain phase, one defined by space, reevaluation, and independence. What nobody expected was a new baby, a new chapter, and a new symbol of connection. When Saga was born on March 27, 2025, the world learned about her name, her meaning, and the shared commitment that came with her arrival. Her full name, Saga Blade Fox Baker, felt poetic, powerful, and unmistakably aligned with the dramatic identity that has always surrounded the couple. Still, even with the magnitude of the news, they revealed almost nothing visually, until now. That is why this latest glimpse matters so much. It marks the first clear emotional window into MGK's life with his infant daughter, and it shows him in a posture not of performance, but presence. The gentle drum tapping, the quiet moment before a show, the warmth in his expression. It contrasts sharply with the wild, electrified persona many associate with him. Fans flooded comment sections expressing shock at how fatherhood continues to soften him, noting how different he seems from the chaotic rock persona who once embodied volatility and artistic rage. The reactions have ranged from heartfelt admiration to emotional nostalgia to hopeful speculation about reconciliation with Meghan. Meanwhile, Meghan's positioning in this story adds depth and complexity. After giving birth earlier this year, she opened up publicly about postpartum experience, not in dramatic outbursts, but in thoughtful reflections about identity, femininity, and recovery. Observers viewed her words as a powerful declaration of selfhood outside the intense narrative she once shared with MGK. And yet the arrival of Saga ties their lives together in a new and permanent way, one that transcends romance and enters the realm of lifelong family connection. Their dynamic now appears to be one of cooperation, respect, and careful rebuilding, even if they are not officially back together. This makes every shared moment, even indirectly shared, feel meaningful.
Fans have been reflecting on how different this phase is from MGK's earlier fatherhood experience. His older daughter, Casey, has long been described by him as his grounding force, the person who kept him steady through fame and turbulence. Now, with Saga, viewers see a continuation of that emotional growth, a new softness forming in real time. Comment threads highlight how MGK appears calmer, more centered, and more emotionally anchored. Some fans express that this may mark a more mature era in his artistry, one shaped by fatherhood, healing, sensitivity, and reflection, instead of volatility, rebellion, and emotional extremism. Entertainment watchers also note how this moment reframes Meghan's narrative. Known for strength, sensuality, bold transformation, and spiritual language, she now moves through public life with an air of rooted womanhood that carries the reality of postpartum experience. Her connection to MGK, though changed, is not erased. Saga represents a shared creation, not metaphorical, not symbolic, but living, breathing, and deeply human. This is not the theatrical blood-drinking era. This is the era of cradle rhythms, quiet mornings, healing bodies, and emotional reconstruction. Another layer adding intrigue is how private they have been with Saga. Unlike many celebrity parents who monetize visibility, MGK and Meghan have chosen rarity, intention, and control. This makes every glimpse feel like a discovery, a privilege, a chapter unfolding. Fans remark on how Saga's presence has brought a surprising softness to both of them, reshaping public perception. Even gossip outlets known for sensationalism have shifted tone, speaking about MGK's fatherhood with warmth rather than chaos. Some viewers speculate whether this new glimpse suggests reconciliation, but insiders emphasize that their relationship status remains undefined, not broken, not labeled, but evolving. Instead, what is visible is partnership, mutual respect, and shared emotional gravity. Whether romance rekindles or remains past tense, the bond through Saga will continue to shape their lives, their decisions, and the public's fascination. As reactions continue building, the momentum has not slowed. The video clip is still circulating, fan edits continue multiplying, and discussions about MGK's emotional evolution continue rising. Viewers are expressing that this feels like a new chapter not just for him, but for the cultural story surrounding him. A story that has shifted from flames and drama to softness and fatherhood. Many fans say they are moved, surprised, and touched by this more vulnerable side of him, and some describe it as the most authentic version of him the public has ever seen. What happens next remains unwritten. Will Meghan appear publicly alongside Saga? Will MGK release music influenced by fatherhood? Will their co-parenting evolve into reunion or remain peacefully separate? Will Saga remain mostly unseen or slowly become a visible part of their world? These questions remain open, and that openness fuels the fascination even more. For now, what is certain is that this new glimpse has recentered MGK not as a shock-driven rock figure, but as a devoted father experiencing a life chapter defined by gentleness, growth, and emotional depth. Fans continue watching, waiting, refreshing feeds, sensing that this moment marks the beginning of a lasting shift. One thing is clear, MGK and Megan Fox, through their daughter Saga, remain compelling, magnetic, and culturally gripping in a way few celebrity stories ever manage to sustain. And as long as moments like this continue to surface, the world will continue to follow every subtle development, every shared moment, and every evolution of their remarkable, intertwined journey. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Keith Urban's return to the CMA Awards stage on November 19, 2025, comes at one of the most emotionally charged moments of his life, just weeks after the world learned that he and Nicole Kidman had officially split after nearly 20 years of marriage. His appearance wasn't just another performance, it was a public reset, a symbolic re-entry into the spotlight at a time when every move he makes is being scrutinized, dissected, and interpreted through the lens of his very public breakup. The moment the camera cut to him, standing under the blazing lights of Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, the crowd erupted, not just in excitement, but in curiosity. Here stood a man whose personal life has dominated headlines for months, a man who had been quiet, reflective, and noticeably absent from major public events since the separation. But tonight, he walked out with intention, guitar strapped across his chest, dressed in all black,
graphic tee, skinny jeans, a worn-in sneakers, sending a message that he was ready to reclaim his space, his voice, and his identity. His surprise duet with Lainey Wilson on Where the Blacktop Ends dates back to 1999, long before Nicole, long before the Hollywood spotlight, long before the marriage that fans believed would last forever. Choosing that song wasn't random. It was reflective. It was Keith looking back at the man he was before the fame, before the expectations, before being one half of an Australian power couple. And performing it beside Lainey, a younger star at the height of her rise, symbolized a bridge between past and present, nostalgia and reinvention. But the deeper significance comes from the whirlwind surrounding his personal life. Nicole Kidman's filing for divorce on September 30th, 2025, stunned fans globally. After years of appearing rock solid, attending premieres together, sharing tender social media moments, supporting each other's careers, the news felt like a seismic shift. Their daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Marguerite, have been thrust into an unexpected new reality, with both Keith and Nicole navigating the responsibilities of co-parenting while under intense public scrutiny. Nicole herself has struck a tone of quiet strength. In a recent interview, she reflected on the painful transition, saying, "There's something to knowing that no matter how painful or devastating something is, there is a way through." Those words resonated deeply with fans, painting a picture of a woman choosing dignity over drama, healing over conflict. Reports have even suggested she may pursue a holiday season reunion, not romantically, but as a united front for their daughter's stability. Meanwhile, Keith's artistry has been revealing clues about his emotional state. On his world tour, he altered lyrics in songs long associated with Nicole. Where the Blacktop Ends shifted from country-bound to CMA's-bound, a subtle hint that he was preparing for this exact moment. In The Fighter, a song born from his marriage, he changed a lyric to reference Maggie Ball, his touring guitarist. That lyric sparked immediate rumors, but fellow artist Alexander Cage quickly shut them down, insisting nothing romantic was happening and that Maggie was simply a friend and colleague. Still, fans read into everything, every tweak, every phrase, every performance. Public reaction to Keith's CMA return has been intense and divided. Many praised his voice, his presence, his courage to step back into the spotlight in such a raw chapter of his life. Others accused him of turning the CMA stage into what they called a post-Kidman pity parade, suggesting he was using the moment as a strategic comeback move. Social media comments ranged from supportive to ruthless, with one viral post reading, "I need Nicole Kidman to tell us why she left Keith Urban." For better or worse, the internet has been eating up every second of this unfolding story. Layered into this narrative is Keith's recent performance at a Mar-a-Lago event where he covered Chappelle Roan's Pink Pony Club, a song deeply rooted in queer club culture. Performing it at a politically charged gathering raised eyebrows and stirred more conversation about the choices he's making in this post-marriage chapter. Was it a political statement, a musical experiment, a distraction? No one seems to agree, but everyone is talking. And that's the thing. Every move Keith makes now becomes part of the larger storyline of his life after Nicole. His CMA performance wasn't just entertainment, it was a declaration. It said, "I'm still here, I'm still Keith Urban, and I'm writing my next chapter on my own terms." In contrast, Nicole's response, graceful, composed, focused on family, suggests she too is stepping into a new chapter, one defined not by the end of a marriage, but by the beginning of a new identity. Their daughters remain at the heart of it all. Every public decision, every performance, every interview will inevitably shape how they remember this moment in their family's history. And both Keith and Nicole seem to understand the weight of that. So what does this mean going forward? For Keith, the CMA Awards may very well mark a new era, one where he revisits his roots, redefines his sound, and reclaims his place in country music not as Nicole Kidman's husband, but as a standalone artist rediscovering his voice. For Nicole, it marks a reawakening, a chance to prioritize her emotional well-being while continuing her legendary acting career. And for fans, we're witnessing a story still being written, filled with emotion, reinvention, speculation, and the unpredictable twists that only celebrity life can deliver. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Cardi B isn't wasting a single moment stepping into her next era because the biggest headline of the month has finally dropped. She has welcomed a baby boy with NFL star Stephon Diggs, and the entire internet is spiraling after she teased that the newborn's name is cute but refused to reveal it. And just like that, the guessing game has taken over social media. Cardi confirmed the birth of her fourth child in mid-November 2025, marking her first baby with Diggs and officially defining this as a brand new chapter for both of them. In her announcement, she tied the arrival of her son to a powerful personal rebirth, saying she'd entered a new season of her life, one shaped by healing, strength, and a drive to be the best version of herself for all four of her kids. She also reminded fans that this isn't just a personal milestone, it's arriving alongside a new album era and preparations for her upcoming Little Miss Drama Tour kicking off in early 2026. In the intimate clip that sent the internet into meltdown, Cardi explained that she was on bed rest at the end of her pregnancy because that baby was heavy, but she looked genuinely peaceful, relieved, excited, and fully locked in on motherhood again. When the interviewer asked about the baby's name, that's when Cardi dropped the spark that ignited millions of curious fans. "I'm not sharing the name yet. It's cute." And instantly, social media turned into a detective agency. The guesses have been wild, from fans insisting it must follow the theme of her other kids' names like Culture, Wave, and Blossom, to people suggesting football-themed names as a nod to Diggs, to theories that the name might be tied to her new album concept. And honestly, it wouldn't be surprising. Cardi knows how to create a moment. But the context around this baby has added even more fuel to the fire. Cardi is still legally married to Offset. Their divorce was filed back in 2024 but hasn't been finalized, and that alone created a wave of commentary as soon as the baby news dropped. Some fans joked, some speculated, and some went completely off the rails, leading Cardi to clap back online more than once, saying she felt harassed and was tired of the drama. She emphasized that people online have no idea what she's actually gone through privately and that she's choosing peace for herself and her kids. Even without giving details, she made it clear that she won't tolerate false narratives, especially during such an emotional moment. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs has been embracing his new role with excitement. The NFL star, already a father to daughters from previous relationships, now has his first son, and he's reportedly over the moon about it. He's joked before that he can't wait to get his son doing push-ups and running drills with him, and fans are already imagining the adorable father-son moments that are coming. This baby blends two very public worlds, Cardi's high-energy music empire and Diggs's high-performance athletic lifestyle, and somehow their coming together feels like a soft reset, a new foundation. Cardi has hinted that she feels more grounded this time around, more self-aware, more prepared. She said that motherhood has always been a huge driver in her ambition, pushing her to evolve emotionally and professionally. But back to the moment everyone is obsessing over, the name. Her refusal to reveal it immediately has worked better than any PR stunt. Fans are breaking down everything, her captions, her outfits, the emojis she uses, even the timing of her posts, looking for hidden meaning. Family-oriented fans are hoping for a meaningful name. Fashion watchers think she'll choose something sleek and stylish. Music fans think the name might nod to her roots or her Dominican Trinidadian culture. And the trolls, of course, are suggesting the most chaotic names possible just for engagement. And then there's Offset. His brief, eyebrow-raising Instagram story, "My Kid, lol," was interpreted as shade, confusion, trolling, or some mix of all three. Cardi quickly shut that noise down by reminding the world she's done with the negativity. She made it clear that this new season is about growth, not chaos, and she wants everyone else to move on too. What makes this moment so fascinating isn't just the baby news. It's the timing, the emotions, the legal layers, the fan reactions, the career pressures, and the cultural weight behind Cardi's next era. She's balancing motherhood, public scrutiny, new music, a massive tour, and a brand new relationship, while standing firm in who she is and what she wants. And fans are here for it. As the world waits for the name reveal, excitement is building. Will she announce it in a music video, a tour promo, a magazine spread, a surprise live stream? Nobody knows. And that's exactly why the story keeps gaining momentum. One thing is certain, this isn't just another celebrity baby announcement. It's a cultural moment, a reset button, and a spark for a brand new era of Cardi B, stronger, more centered, and more determined than ever. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this. Oliver Hudson has unveiled a tender glimpse into how his mother, Goldie Hawn, is marking her milestone 80th birthday, and it's nothing like the glamorous Hollywood blowout many might expect. On November 21, 2025, the Oscar-winning actress turns 8 decades old, but rather than a red carpet gala or headline-grabbing party, she's opting instead for something deeply personal: family, laughter, and simple moments together. Oliver, the 49-year-old actor-son of Goldie with her former husband Bill Hudson, shared that his mother dismissed extravagant plans in favor of what she loves most: being surrounded by the people she loves. "We would have done anything for her," he said. "Totally up to her. If she wanted to go to the moon, we'd figure it out. But she's a simple gal." He added, "She wants her family, and that's it, and that's what we're doing now." So instead of limousines and paparazzi, the family plans some gentle fun. Oliver mentioned things like golf tournament things, some cooks, and we might have some music, but made clear that the patrons will be just the family. There's something touching and real about that. An 8-decade star of comedy, drama, and humanitarian work saying that being with her nearest and dearest is all she wants. And the tributes have already poured in. His sister, Kate Hudson, 46, took to Instagram with a carousel of candid family photos and a caption that read in part, "To distill half of her life that I've known into a single caption feels impossible. I have been the lucky recipient of novels of love and wisdom from her." She went on to write, "She is truly extraordinary, and as I celebrate her every day, today we all get to share in it. Please join me in wishing a huge happy birthday to this 80-year-old queen goddess. We love you, Mama." That kind of love from Kate, Oliver, and the rest of the family says more than any party ever could. Goldie, who shares children Oliver and Kate Hudson with Bill Hudson, and son Wyatt Russell with her longtime partner Kurt Russell, has built a loving, blended family over decades of work, life, and change. These kids, now grown with families of their own, are back together during this holiday season, which Oliver noted is rare. "Wyatt's doing this over here. I'm over here. Kate's working here. So we're always scattered and doing our thing, and this is the 3 weeks where we are all together. It's the most special time of the year for sure." Looking back makes the moment even richer. Goldie first made her mark in the late 1960s and early 1970s, winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for Cactus Flower in 1969, and later starring in beloved comedies like Overboard and The First Wives Club. She has long combined her unique screen presence, warmth, comedic timing, and strength with a serious devotion to children's education and social-emotional growth via her foundation. Over the years, she has been an inspiration to generations, a living example that joy, humor, and heart endure. But beneath the star power, there's a person who wants more than lights and cameras. She wants family, she wants memories, she wants love. And now, at 80, she's choosing exactly that. A low-key gathering doesn't mean low on meaning. For someone who has spent decades in the spotlight, the choice to quietly celebrate with the people who matter most is a powerful statement. The best kind of luxury is togetherness. As Oliver and Kate have reminded us, this isn't about lofty gestures, it's about the deepest, simplest gift: being present, being together, being grateful. The golf, the cooking, the music, they're just surface details. The real celebration is love. So to Goldie Hawn on November 21st, 2025, happy 80th. May laughter, warmth, and family fill your day. May this chapter bring the kind of joy you've given the world for so long. And to everyone watching, it's a reminder that even in the fast-paced world of celebrity and Hollywood glamour, the most profound moments are often quiet, shared, and real. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
The 2026 Met Gala theme has officially been revealed, and this year, the fashion world is buzzing louder than ever, because the iconic First Monday in May event is taking a bold new direction with the theme, Costume Art. Scheduled for May 4th, 2026, this gala isn't just another glamorous night on the steps of the Met. It marks the grand debut of the Met's newly renovated 12,000-square-foot Condé Nast Galleries, space that will redefine how fashion is displayed, studied, and remembered. And the Costume Institute is making a statement. Fashion is not just clothing. Fashion is art. Since 1948, the Met Gala has transformed from a society fundraiser into the world's most influential red carpet event, where celebrities, designers, and cultural icons gather to create visual history. Each theme is chosen to align with the Costume Institute's spring exhibition, and the 2026 exhibition will open on May 10th and run through January 10th, 2027. But this year's concept dives deeper than usual. Costume art is designed to explore the relationship between the dressed body and artistic representation across centuries. It challenges the idea that fashion is separate from painting, sculpture, and visual culture. Instead, it elevates garments to the level of museum-grade art objects, each telling a story through form, movement, and the human body itself. This shift in perspective is already influencing how designers are preparing for the event. Fashion insiders are predicting a red carpet filled with sculptural silhouettes, architectural gowns, draped forms inspired by classical antiquity, experimental materials, and garments that turn the wearer into a literal piece of moving art. Expect outfits that reference ancient marble statues, Renaissance portraiture, mythological figures, and avant-garde body-focused designs. The looks may feel more conceptual, less cliché, and more intentional than in previous years. The Met Gala has always been theatrical, but 2026 might be the year it becomes overtly philosophical. But with big ideas come big reactions. The public response to the costume art theme is already divided. Some fans and critics are excited, calling this one of the most intellectually rich themes in Met Gala history. They're praising the Costume Institute for elevating fashion and recognizing its cultural power. Others are calling it too academic, too vague, and even pretentious. Some worry the gala might lose the fun, chaotic glamour that made moments like Rihanna's Pope-inspired ensemble or Zendaya's Cinderella transformation so iconic. People are asking whether celebrities, who often struggle to interpret simpler themes, will be able to handle something this layered. And of course, all eyes are on designers to see whether they'll embrace the challenge or play it safe. Adding even more intrigue to the upcoming gala is the confirmation that Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez will be major sponsors for the 2026 event. Their involvement is already sparking conversations about the intersection of wealth, influence, and the evolving identity of the gala. When billionaires help fund the fashion world's biggest night, you know the stakes and expectations are higher than ever. As we move closer to the gala, the real suspense lies in who will interpret the theme with brilliance and who will completely miss the mark. Will celebrities lean into art historical glamour? Will someone reimagine themselves as a living sculpture? Will designers take risks, or will the fear of public misinterpretation push them towards safer choices? Fans are waiting for early hints, sketches, fabric samples, and behind-the-scenes fittings, and every small detail will fuel speculation. Another looming question is this year's co-chairs. The Met Gala's co-chairs set the tone for the event, influence the guest list, and shape the public narrative. Until the names are revealed, the internet will keep spinning theories about which A-listers will represent the theme best. Perhaps a fashion-forward actress known for bold choices, a musician with an artistic persona, or a designer celebrated for sculptural silhouettes. And then there's the dress code. While the theme is costume art, the official dress code may break it down into something more direct, something guests can interpret more easily. Previous dress codes have become legendary, from gilded glamour to Karl Lagerfeld, a line of beauty. What will the 2026 phrasing be? Will it emphasize sculpture, form, anatomy, or classical beauty? Whatever the Costume Institute decides, it will set the tone for the most talked about outfits of the year. The Met Gala is more than a red carpet. It shapes fashion trends, sparks global conversations, and creates visuals that last for decades. With costume art, the event is stepping boldly into a space where fashion merges with art history, identity, and the essence of the human form. Whether this results in breathtaking creativity or headline-making controversy, one thing is certain: the 2026 Met Gala will be unforgettable. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Miss Jamaica's glittering walk at the 2025 Miss Universe 2025 pageant took a harrowing turn. On Wednesday, November 19th, in Bangkok area, Thailand, 28-year-old Dr. Gabrielle Henry, Miss Universe Jamaica 2025, was confidently striding across the runway in a glowing orange evening gown and high heels, prepared to shine in the preliminary evening gown round. Instead, she missed a step at the stage edge, slipped off the platform, and tumbled into the darkness of the stage gap. Gasps echoed through the audience. Within moments, stretcher bearers were rushing to her side. Her pageant night ended on a gurney, whisked away to a hospital in the early hours. It was a scene that stunned both the live audience and millions online once the clip went viral. The victim of the stumble, Gabrielle Henry, is more than just a beauty queen. She is a qualified ophthalmologist and the founder of a Jamaica-based charity for the visually impaired. Her story had been one of triumph, service, and high expectations in this global competition. So when the fall happened, the world saw one of the brightest hopefuls brought low in the blink of an eye. The venue was the renowned Impact Challenger Hall in Pak Kret, Nonthaburi, Thailand. The event had already been bruised by controversy. 3 judges resigned in the week leading up, alleging that an impromptu jury had pre-decided finalists. The director of Miss Universe Thailand had recently been dismissed after a confrontation with Miss Mexico, triggering a walkout by contestants. Yet nothing had prepared anyone for the sight of a crowned national representative going off on a stretcher. What happened? Gabrielle stood at the edge of the stage, her orange fabric sweeping behind her, heels clicking on the runway. As she turned to walk back, the dark-lit lip of the stage seemed to vanish beneath her. She took a misstep, lost her balance, and plunged sideways. In the subsequent footage, she lies motionless for a heartbeat before the staff swarm, help her up, and place her on a stretcher. The show, as some viewers noted, curiously kept going without pause. Contestants still walked, music played, and the cameras rolled. Immediately after, her team issued a statement. She had been rushed to Paulo Rangsit Hospital. There were no broken bones, no life-threatening injuries reported, but further tests were being conducted. That same night, pageant owner Raul Rocha visited her at the hospital with her family and posted that she was under good care. Despite the reassuring tone, the fact remained. The once confident walk had ended in an ambulance-style evacuation. Social media reacted fast. Viewers called the fall hard to watch, a heart-stop moment, or proof that even the most poised can falter in a heartbeat. One user wrote, "Lord Jesus, my heart leapt." Another commented, "They need to stop making these ridiculous stage setups. This is not safe for the ladies." And yet, beneath the shock was another layer, admiration for Gabrielle's resilience. One of her fellow contestants, Danielle Latimer from Great Britain, who had herself slipped earlier in the competition, praised Gabrielle backstage for her kindness and support. The clip of Danielle saying, "Miss Jamaica came up to me and said some really kind things," spread across Instagram and TikTok. From Jamaica, a wave of support rose. Fans posted tributes, "Jamaica's queen will rise again. Our eyesight may be fine, but your vision inspires us. Get well soon, Dr. Henry." The Miss Universe Jamaica organization thanks supporters for their messages and asked the public to stay upbeat and pray for her recovery. Meanwhile, commentators pointed out that the incident casts an extra shadow on the 2025 pageant, occurring amidst the very real crisis of resignations, walkouts, allegations of rigging, and poor stage safety. It felt more than a mere accident. Backstory matters here. Gabrielle earned her title earlier in 2025, a standout among her peers, not merely for looks, but for her academic and community credentials. The ophthalmologist's charity work for visually impaired Jamaicans had already given her a platform to speak, in press events, speaking tours, and her hometown of Kingston. Crowned Miss Universe Jamaica in August, she stepped into the international spotlight with ambition. Her runway rehearsals, costume fittings, and interviews had been documented in social posts, and she seemed home on stage, until the misstep changed everything. The platform she walked upon was tough. The runway lighting was reportedly dim, the stage edge poorly marked, and many viewers speculated that the high heels plus the sweeping gown made the fall almost inevitable. Some critics were quick to point fingers. The stage design was dangerous. Why wasn't there better lighting or a raised lip warning? While others defended the pageant. It was a freak accident. These women trained for months, and footwear risk is part of it. Either way, the optics are unfortunate. Details emerging. The evening gown round was part of the preliminary competition, ahead of the official finals held later this weekend. Her tumble happened mid-walk. In the seconds before she fell, you could see her pose confidently at center stage, then pivot,
and the next second she's on the ground, her gold-heeled sandals slipping off the stage rim. A video released early Thursday shows the cast of contestants continuing the show as she is carried away. The continuity raised questions about how much the organizers prioritize spectacle over safety. The sequence of events is important. Wednesday evening, tumble. Night of November 19th, hospitalization. November 20th, public confirmation by organizers that no broken bones but observation required. Miss Jamaica's absence from the Thursday night segment raised alarms. Why wasn't she there? The response was she remains hospitalized, undergoing tests, may or may not continue in the competition, but her condition is stable. With the finals looming, the decision will come soon whether she returns to the stage or withdraws. Meanwhile, the controversies swirl like a storm. The pageant had already been rocked by the resignation of Judge Omar Harfouche, who alleged an impromptu jury had already chosen some finalists behind the scenes. Director Nawat Itzara Grizzly's firing after a public altercation with Miss Mexico added to the turbulence. And now the accident? Some social media threads speculate foul play. Was she rushed off because they didn't want her winning? Did the pageant ignore stage safety for dramatic effect? Even though no evidence suggests anything nefarious, the speculation thrives in the vacuum of transparency. What now for Gabrielle Henry? At the time of this recording, she is under observation in Bangkok, awaiting further test results. Her future in the competition is uncertain. Some insiders suggest she may withdraw from the finals to prioritize her health. Others hope for the triumphant return of the Jamaican queen. Regardless of outcome, her story has already transcended this one pageant, moving from runway to hospital bed, from contestant to symbol of vulnerability in a glittery world. For viewers of her journey, this is a reminder that pageant careers are not just about gowns and crowns, they are about human beings bearing pressure, expectation, and physical risk. Gabrielle's platform for visually impaired Jamaicans lends added poignancy. A slip on stage and the irony snaps into focus. Her advocacy work might now gain even more attention, her voice amplified by the dramatic moment. Looking ahead, the finals of Miss Universe 2025 will crown a winner soon. The question on everyone's mind, will Gabrielle be walking in that final evening gown? Will Miss Jamaica still have a chance at the crown despite the fall? And equally, what reforms will the pageant organizers implement in the aftermath? Will this incident trigger reassessment of stage safety, shoe rules, runway lighting, or contestant medical protocols? Industry insiders suggest yes, this won't blow over. For her personally, the recovery period is critical. Although no fractures were reported, soft tissue injuries, concussion risk, or other trauma might make a return hazardous. Her team will weigh the prestige of a title attempt against her long-term career as an ophthalmologist and advocate. Many voices are encouraging her to prioritize health and come back stronger next year. Others are already calling her a hero for calming Danielle Latimer backstage, for representing her country with dignity, for turning misfortune into inspiration. From the wider perspective, this event may become a case study in live television and live stage events. How one misstep can change a narrative, how safety protocols often lag behind glamorous appearances, how a single fall can dominate headlines more than who wins the crown. For fans, there will be interest in behind-the-scenes footage, safety reviews, and how the show handles the crisis midstream. Will the producers pause to address her, issue a statement, or keep on moving? Evidence shows the show kept going, which opens another ethical discussion about how entertainment balances human cost and spectacle. In the end, Gabrielle's fall is more than a viral moment. It's a dramatic chapter in what should have been a dream for her and a vivid reminder that no one is untouchable, not even on the world's biggest beauty stage. It demands empathy, it provokes questions, and it holds the possibility of redemption. Whether she returns to compete at full strength, whether she uses this moment to elevate her global platform, whether the organizers learn from this near tragedy, those will be the follow-up stories. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Vince Gill, one of country music's most enduring and beloved stars, has always done things his own way. And now, as he prepares to receive the prestigious Lifetime Achievement Honor at the 2025 CMA Awards, he's doing so with a wink, a joke, and a heartfelt nod to his partner in life and music, Amy Grant. In this video, we'll dig into the full story, how Gill arrived at this moment, what he meant when he quipped his job is being Amy's bitter half, what the broader context of his career and marriage is, how fans are reacting, and what this moment means for two musical icons in tandem. Let's start at the beginning. Vince Gill is 68 years old and has spent roughly 5 decades in country music, steadily building not just a career, but a legacy. He has sold over 30 million records, released 20-plus albums, earned more than 20 Grammy Awards, and become a fixture in the Nashville scene. From his early work through his hosting stints, his membership in the Grand Ole Opry, his songwriting successes, and his constant touring and recording. Meanwhile, Amy Grant emerged in the 1980s as a trailblazer in contemporary Christian music, crossed over into pop, and became a household name in her own right. The two married back in 2000 after both had first marriages and had already built careers, and together they navigated the joys and the challenges of blending families, busy careers, and public life. Now fast forward to November 19th, 2025, the 59th annual CMA Awards held at Nashville's Bridgestone Arena. Vince Gill is being honored with the Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award, one of the country world's highest honors, recognizing not just hits or albums, but a body of work and the contribution to the genre's culture and future. At the red carpet, he joked, "You got all the way down to the V's before you found somebody?" He was referring to being the recipient, humble, funny, self-aware. On stage, he accepted the award with characteristic charm, thanking everyone from his management, his band, the Grand Ole Opry family, and his children, and then making a very pointed moment for Amy, calling her the kindest soul I've ever known. But then came the line that's now being replayed. He joked that his real job is being Amy's bitter half. At first glance, it sounded like just a playful wife guy quip. But dig a little deeper, and it reveals so much about their dynamic, about his humility, about how two stars might choose to define their partnership, and how in this case, he chooses to define his role. What does he mean by bitter half? In the typical phrase, better half, one spouse is often the celebrator, the public face, the star. The other plays support, behind the scenes, quieter but essential. Vince flips that. He says his job is to be the one making sure things run, to laugh at himself, to defer, to support Amy as she shines, and to accept that sometimes his job is simply to show up, steady, and let her have the spotlight. It's a humble admission from someone who has achieved so much, and it says volumes about marriage, partnership, and identity when you're both heavyweights in the same field. Let's circle back and walk through their story in more detail. How they met, how their lives intertwined, how their careers progressed, and how they weathered health issues, shifting industry landscapes, and personal evolution. Amy Grant and Vince Gill first crossed paths in the early 1990s. At that time, Grant was already a Christian pop pioneer, while Gill was deeply embedded in country music circles. They didn't start a relationship immediately. Life circumstances, marriages, responsibilities intervened. But they remained friends. Eventually, in 1999, after both of them had exited their first marriages, Grant to Gary Chapman, Gill to Janice Oliver, they began dating. They married in 2000. Their daughter Corinna was born in 2001. Grant had 3 children from her first marriage, Matthew, Millie, and Sarah. Gill had a daughter, Jenny, from his previous marriage. The resulting blended family is large and musical, and today often cited as one of the more private but enduring partnerships in the music business. Their career arcs are also singular. For Vince, the breakthrough moment came around 1990 with the single When I Call Your Name, a performance-heavy, emotionally rich song that really put him on the map. Over the years, he racked up hit after hit, collaborations, songwriting credits, and award after award. Host of the CMA's 12 consecutive years at one point, inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2007, and deep in the Nashville and Grand Ole Opry community. For Amy, her early music defined a genre. Then her crossover in the mid-'80s expanded her audience. She became the first Christian pop artist to achieve mainstream success and has always straddled genres: contemporary Christian, pop, country. Now the health journey. In 2020, the couple faced a jarring wake-up call. Amy was diagnosed with a rare congenital heart condition that required open-heart surgery. Shortly afterward, in 2022, she had a serious bike accident that left her with a brain injury. She also underwent throat surgery, relearning how to sing.
Through all that, Vince stood by her side, putting tours on hold, being caregiver, encourager, and partner. In his words, it was just one thing after another after another. In hers, Vince is just steady. That ordeal strengthened them, not just as individuals, but as a unit. When you cast that backdrop alongside the bitter half quip, you begin to see that Vince's joke is layered. On one hand, self-effacing humor. Here's a man who has hundreds of songs, millions of fans, lifetime achievements, and says, "My job is to be the bitter half." On the other, a declaration of shared purpose. He chooses that role because he believes in her, because he believes in the partnership, and because in the long game, marriage and family matter as much as trophies. Now let's pause and look at the public reaction. Social media, fan forums, country music news sites, all are buzzing. The visual of Vince receiving the award with Amy by his side, the tribute performance of When I Call Your Name by Brandi Carlile and Patti Loveless, the jokes on the red carpet, they've ignited admiration. One viral post on X, Amy Grant gets superstar and Vince Gill gets bitter half. This is true love in country music form. Others remark how rare it is for two major artists to sustain a marriage, build a blended family, pursue distinct careers, and still show up for each other. Many fans reflect, he could brag, but he chose humility. Many say, that joke turned into a moment of tenderness. It's become not just a story about an award, it's a story about a marriage, a milestone, and a reflection on identity inside artistry. Now let's take a minute to reflect on what this award means for Vince, personally and professionally. The Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award isn't for a single hit or album, it's a lifetime. It acknowledges influence, longevity, contribution, and forward-looking legacy. For Vince, this is recognition not just of past successes, but how he remains relevant, how he collaborates, supports, writes, performs, and contributes to the genre's culture. It ties into his broader project, an EP series titled 50 Years from Home, timed with his half-century in music. So this moment at the November 19th ceremony is more than ceremony. It's a pivot point. He's being celebrated for what's been and what's ahead. And Amy's presence, the family, the health trials, they all situate this moment as deeply personal. And that brings us back to the bitter half. Within the showbiz framing, the spotlight often falls on one star. But here, Vince is saying, I know the spotlight shines on Amy too. I know my role has multiple facets. I support, I stand behind, I keep the train moving, I make sure the kitchen runs while the stage glows. In that light, the phrase is witty, but it's also reverent. It's an acknowledgement that greatness is rarely solo. In his joke, he elevates Amy's greatness and affirms his choice to walk beside her, not always ahead or above. Now, what should viewers know who are less familiar? First, the CMA Awards, Country Music Association Awards, are the major annual awards in country music. On November 19th, 2025, at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, the 59th edition was held, with Vince among its honorees. Second, understanding the phrase lifetime achievement in this context. This isn't a competitive award among this year's songs, it's a nod to the full career. Third, knowing the dynamic between Vince and Amy, his country heritage, her Christian pop crossover background, their shared home in Nashville, and their family. Fourth, recognizing how health adversity can reshape artists' lives, never always just glamour, but resilience. And finally, appreciating that this bitter half joke works because it comes from someone who has nothing to prove, but chooses to rediscover purpose.
Let's dig deeper into some of Vince's career landmarks. The song When I Call Your Name, 1989-1990, signaled his national breakthrough, a deeply emotional, wide-reaching performance. He has had hits like Go Rest High on That Mountain, Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away, Look at Us, and many more. He hosted the CMA Awards many years, 12 in a row, demonstrating how much the industry trusts his voice and character. He's a songwriter's songwriter, a musician's musician. Guitar skills, vocals, songwriting, collaboration. For Amy, songs like Baby Baby, Lead Me, Find a Way established her as a household name.
Over time, she pivoted into adult contemporary, worship music, pop, and country crossings. Their synergy becomes interesting. Two artists, similar faith roots, but distinct genres, sharing life, family, craft. Let's expand on the family dimension. Vince has a daughter, Jenny, from his first marriage. Amy has 3 children from her first marriage, Matthew, Millie, and Sarah, and together they share daughter, Karina. Their blended family now includes grandchildren. They've navigated the challenges of busy touring schedules, the fragmentation of public life and private commitments. And then came the health issues. Amy's open heart surgery, 2020, bike accident, 2022, throat surgery, and how all of that could have shaken a couple, but instead seemed to tighten their bond. Imagine the moment. November 19, lights bright. Nashville audience, Vince waiting for his name to be called. He steps on stage to accept the Willie Nelson Award. He looks toward Amy. He says, "More than anything, the woman I'm married to is the kindest soul I've ever known." The tribute performance behind him echoes his landmark song. He jokes about being the only honoree who never smoked weed, a playful nod to Willie Nelson's own legacy. He jokes about how hosting the CMAs 12 years in a row might have been the dumbest thing they ever did. But there is gravity in his voice when he thanks his children, his band, his management, the Grand Ole Opry family, and the Nashville community. Then afterwards in interviews, he says his real job is being Amy's bitter half. That line becomes the headline. A journalist asks, "Does that mean you trade your spotlight for hers?" He smiles. "No," he says, "it means she and I have different jobs, but the same purpose." He laughs, "Some nights I'm out front, some nights I'm back in the woodworks, but I still show up. I still make my part happen. I still make sure our home's okay, our tour plan is okay, our music remains our passion." He's joking, yes, but also being serious. And that duality is part of what makes this story resonate. As viewers, what can we take away? First, success isn't always about being number one. For Vince, it's about longevity, consistency, relationships. Second, marriage at the level of iconic musicians isn't always tabloid drama. It can be quiet strength, mutual respect, and shared growth. Third, artistry evolves. Health scares, life shifts, industry changes, they all matter. Fourth, headlines can come from jokes, but the jokes often reveal the truth. Bitter half is funny, but it underlines humility. It underlines the idea that being the sidekick, in some respects, doesn't mean you're less. It means you're necessary. Let's talk for a bit about the ripple effect in the country music community. Fans have responded with admiration, many posting about how rare it is to see such genuine partnership in the limelight. Industry figures have commented. The CMA CEO said Gil embodies the best of country music, honoring traditions, giving back, staying active. Young artists watching this say, if you want to build a career that lasts, you also have to build a life that lasts. The performance of When I Call Your Name by Brandi Carlile and Patty Loveless during the tribute was a highlight, with many calling it heavenly and a passing of the torch. That moment emphasized how much Gil's peers respect him and how his legacy is living and breathing. We should pause to examine what's next for Gil and Grant. Vince is releasing his EP series 50 Years From Home, the first of which dropped October 17th. At this point in his career, he seems to be reflecting and renewing simultaneously. Amy is still performing, still recording, her voice rebuilt, her audience evolving. And together, they are still hosts of their annual holiday residency in Nashville, still engaged in their crafts, still part of the community. They speak less about chasing headlines, more about making music, making memories. And meanwhile, this moment, the Lifetime Award, the public quip, the joint spotlight, is a chapter but not the end. It invites us to consider the broader themes. What happens when you've made it? What role do you take then? How do you integrate personal and professional, love and legacy? For Vince, the quip bitter half is his way of saying, I've arrived, yes, but I'm still choosing how to show up. I'm still choosing to serve the art, serve my partner, serve the family. The spotlight is nice, but the light behind the spotlight matters too. As we wrap up, let's take one more moment to imagine. Nashville twilight after the CMA ceremony. The crowd has gone home. Backstage, Vince and Amy step off stage. They share a laugh about his joke.
They look at the award, they look at each other. He might say, "Well, that was something." She replies, "You were great." He smiles, "No, I was just doing my job as your bitter half." She laughs. And then maybe they step outside, hold hands, drive home to their Tennessee farmhouse or Nashville home, guitars leaning in the corner, family pictures on the wall. Fame is real, but home is still theirs. Music is their joy, but love is their foundation. That kind of ending brings the story full circle. From a young country musician just starting out, to decades of songs and tours, to help scares and challenges, to a Lifetime Achievement Award, to a joke on the red carpet that reveals the heart of the man and the heart of the relationship. It's not just about what Vince Gill has done, it's about who he is and who he is with. The man who receives one of country's highest honors and yet still jokes his job is to support his wife, still stands by her side, not behind her, but beside her, and still sees marriage, music, and life as the full package. If you're tuning in now, you're part of that audience. You're witnessing not just an awards moment, but a human moment, a joke, a tribute, a legacy, and a love story. So thank you for watching this deep dive into Vince Gill's latest milestone, his relationship with Amy Grant, and what the bitter half line reveals about both of them. If you enjoyed this, if you want more behind-the-scenes celebrity music stories, more country music features, more deep looks at artists' lives, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Frankie Grande has stepped into the spotlight with a reassuring update on his sister's Ariana Grande's health following her surprise COVID-19 diagnosis. The two-time Grammy winner revealed she tested positive for COVID-19 on November 20th, 2025, announcing via Instagram that the photo of her from that day, just before her appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, captured the moment moments before COVID. At the time of her announcement, Ariana was deep in the promotional tour for her much-anticipated film adaptation of the Broadway phenomenon Wicked for Good, in which she plays the role of Glinda the Good. Her promotion schedule was disrupted. She was forced to cancel her appearance on The Kelly Clarkson Show, skip post-screening Q&A events, and withdraw from parts of the tour. Enter her brother, actor and producer Frankie Grande, who, at the November 21, 2025 Out 100 celebration in Los Angeles, gave an exclusive interview and delivered what fans most wanted to hear. "She's doing well," he said. "As her brother, I sent her all the love and healing vibes in the world. She's working so much." He also added with quiet candor, "We've all had COVID at this point. We know that she's going to be fine." To set this story in full context, Ariana Grande, age 32, has been riding high with her dual career as pop megastar and actress. Her turn as Glinda in Wicked for Good marks a major pivot toward acting and musical film, following her chart-topping hits and world tours. During filming of the original Wicked movie, she had already previously fallen ill with COVID amid production. It's no surprise, then, that fans and industry watchers took notice when the new diagnosis emerged right at a key moment of publicity and momentum. Frankie's comments do more than just confirm she's okay. They shine a light on Ariana's work ethic and the family support behind the scenes. He praised her performance, saying he's seen the film 4 times, and it gets better every single time. "I learn something new about my sister's character every single time I watch her. Her acting is masterful, her craft is on full display, and I encourage everybody to go see it." This kind of public backing from a sibling in Hollywood underscores the personal and professional stakes at play. Ariana's health recovery isn't just a personal matter. It intersects with her promotional obligations, her fans' expectations, and her own ambitions. Public reaction has been overwhelmingly poised with concern, then relief. Once news broke of her COVID diagnosis, entertainment outlets flagged the unusual timing of her contraction right before major engagements and noted that her ability to pause and recover was now critical. Meanwhile, entertainment sites reported the family's reassurance and Ariana's decision to keep fans in the loop herself.
The Instagram revelation, posted in her stories, included the casually self-referential caption, "Moments before COVID." It's worth considering the wider implications. In an era where big screen musicals are massive productions, delays or absences by lead stars can ripple into box office and press cycles. Ariana's absence from scheduled events following her diagnosis reflects just that. But Frankie's statement, simple yet confident, aims to stabilize the narrative. Yes, she caught COVID, yes, she paused, but yes, she's on the mend, and she will be back. The message to fans is clear. Don't panic, keep the faith, and look forward to the film. For Ariana, the diagnosis likely means a temporary deceleration of her whirlwind professional pace, but not a derailment. Her brother's words signal that the team is confident in her recovery and eager for her return to full strength. For the fans, the takeaway is both reassuring and humanizing. Even a superstar like Ariana Grande is vulnerable to a virus, but with proper rest, love, and support, she's navigating the challenge and emerging okay. In closing, Frankie's public statement helps shift the headline from "Ariana Grande has COVID" to "Ariana Grande is recovering, supported, and ready to press on." It's an update that balances concern and optimism, and for a moment in celebrity culture, it shows something quietly steady behind the scenes. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Under the brilliant lights of the ballroom, the spotlight is now on the moment that will define a journey. Tonight, wildlife conservationist Robert Irwin stands in the finals of season 34 of Dancing with the Stars. From his very first steps, donning the khaki legacy of his family, to mastering spins, lifts, and quick-footed jives, this is the story of how Robert transformed from famous name to full-fledged ballroom contender. The journey began when 21-year-old Robert was announced as a contestant for the September 16, 2025 premiere of the season alongside his professional partner, Whitney Carson. From the outset, there was buzz. The son of the late renowned wildlife educator Steve Irwin and brother of former champion Bindi Irwin carried both legacy and expectation. But expectations alone don't win trophies. Rhythm and discipline do. In week 1 of the competition, Robert entered the dance floor with energy and boldness. He kicked off with a jive-style performance that referenced both his Aussie roots and his personal charisma. The judges, Kariana Naba, Derek Huff, and Bruno Torellini, praised his step work and presence, though also pointed out the typical rookie stumbles. That week set the tone. Robert is not just here for a cameo, he is here to dance seriously. As the weeks progressed, his progress was unmistakable. On dedication night in October, Robert dedicated his dance to his mother, Terry Irwin, performing a foxtrot to "You'll Be in My Heart." The performance was emotional, earnest, and earned strong marks from the judges. It was clear that Robert was growing in confidence and connection, and that connection to his family story gave his routines real emotional weight. Then came a standout moment. On the show's 20th anniversary episode, Robert and Whitney delivered a foxtrot to Leona Lewis's Footprints in the Sand, joining Bindi on stage and projecting images of their father Steve. It was tribute and breakthrough. The emotions in the ballroom were raw. Bruno remarked that he could not take his eyes off Robert. Derek compared his enthusiasm to his father's legacy. And even host Tom Bergeron commented that Robert had grown into a star. That night, they earned the season's first perfect 40. For Robert, that was a signal. The ballroom recognized him. Fast forward to November 18th, 2025. It's Prince Night. The theme, music of Prince, dances of passion, precision, and theatrics. Robert and Whitney took on a jive to Baby I'm a Star and followed with the Viennese waltz to Wow. The jive was electric, high energy, fearless, and technical. The judges rewarded them with a perfect score, 10s across the board, and the couple emerged as the top scorers of the night, clinching their place in the finals. Social media erupted with praise. One fan wrote, "His footwork is impeccable. He totally deserves to win." Another simply declared,
he's a dancer. What makes this moment so compelling is the arc of transformation. Robert didn't rely solely on his family name. Early in the season, he leaned into his heritage. Later, especially in the semi-final, he shifted focus to his own performance, choosing not to bring family onto the stage for the first time. It was a bold statement. He's dancing his own story now. Professional partner Whitney Carson has been a steadfast anchor. In Robert's own words, "She's always got my back, and she creates something new and exciting every week." The chemistry between them has been frequently remarked upon. Public reaction has been supportive and celebratory. Fans online call him a frontrunner. Some compare him to his sister's victorious path in season 21, noting that if Bindi could win in 2015, Robert has the potential to follow suit. Meanwhile, whispers behind the scenes suggest that the family's famed Australia Zoo is already making space for a coveted Mirrorball trophy should Robert take home the win. The trophy has significance not only to his career, but to the Irwin family legacy. Of course, the finals bring fresh challenges. It's not just about technique anymore, it's about stamina, emotional storytelling, performance on demand, audience votes, and showmanship. Robert will need to deliver one or more high-stakes routines, potentially a freestyle that showcases all he has learned, plus the declaration of his own artistic voice. Will he pull out the wow moment that clinches the title? Only tonight will tell. And if you've watched him through this journey, seen him grow, embraced the excitement of each week, now is the time to choose. Support counts, votes count, the energy of the fans, the judges, the ballroom itself, it all converges tonight. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Khloe Kardashian's holiday season officially burst into view the moment she dropped a warm, intimate, and unmistakably festive photo carousel on Instagram on November 17th, 2025, giving fans exactly the kind of cozy, candid family content they've been craving. No polished studio shoot, no stage glam, just raw, real, early-season Christmas joy with her kids True and Tatum and her niece, Chicago West. And in classic Khloe fashion, the images carried more emotion, more story, and more meaning than she ever said out loud. The first photo instantly stole the spotlight. Khloe sitting in the car, bundled up in a black winter beanie, flashing a soft smile while flanked by two of the closest cousins in the Kardashian-Jenner next generation, her daughter True Thompson, now 7, and her niece Chicago West, also 7. The two little girls wore matching white Hello Kitty hats like twin holiday elves, their bright smiles setting off the perfect blend of innocence and holiday excitement. It wasn't stage glam, it was family. 3 girls in cozy hats, riding together, preparing to dive headfirst into Christmas mode. And fans went wild over the authenticity. Then came the image that had everyone screaming, "This is peak holiday content." Her 3-year-old son, Tatum Thompson, wearing a tiny elf hat, wandering excitedly through a store overflowing with Christmas decor. Glittering ornaments, tinsel, wreaths, everything you imagine when you picture the start of holiday shopping. His laugh mid-step, the oversized hat sliding slightly to the side, the sparkly background, it looked like a scene from a family Christmas movie. This little moment seemed to perfectly capture what Khloe has been trying to protect fiercely for years: childhood magic. But she didn't stop there. Khloe surprised fans by including snapshots that subtly tied the family storyline together, including sweet throwback moments from Dream Kardashian's 9th birthday, celebrated earlier this month. Pink pastel decor, star-shaped balloons, heart-themed decorations, and a very Hello Kitty-inspired vibe. Classic Khloe party planning energy. In the pictures, True and Tatum can be seen laughing and playing, showing just how tight this generation of cousins truly is. It was a reminder that no matter the drama, no matter the headlines, the Kardashian kids remain the beating heart of the family. Khloe didn't add long captions or emotional essays, just a simple trio of emojis, bear, sparkles, and hearts, letting the photos speak softly but powerfully.
And yet the comment section filled in the emotional part for her. Friends, Glam Squad members, and longtime supporters flooded the post with words like, "so blessed," hearts, cozy emojis, and messages that echoed what fans were already feeling. This was the Khloe they love: warm, nurturing, family-centered, and soft. And here's what makes this holiday post hit deeper than most people realize. Last year, just one season ago, Khloe shared that both of her children fell sick right before Christmas. True battled a dangerously high 105-degree fever. Tatum struggled through the weekend too. The family ended up skipping their iconic annual Christmas Eve party for the first time in years. No glamorous gowns, no high-profile guest list, no massive decor reveal. Instead, they tried to make the best of the situation with a quiet gathering at Kendall Jenner's home, as Khloe's house was undergoing renovations. She called it a low-key Christmas, and at the time, she sounded heartbroken. Missing the Christmas Eve party was a huge deal for the family, something that hadn't happened in decades. So when Khloe posted this new carousel of cheerful, healthy, bundled-up kids, the deeper meaning wasn't lost on her longtime followers. It wasn't just about matching hats and cute elf accessories. It was relief, gratitude, a moment to breathe again after a difficult holiday season the year before, a chance to pour herself into the family traditions she thought she'd lost for a moment. For Khloe, Christmas has always been more than decor and parties. It's about building memories with her children, her nieces, and her nephews, the next generation that she sees as the center of her world. True and Tatum, who she shares with Tristan Thompson, remain her daily motivation. And Chicago, Kim's daughter, is almost like a third child to her with how close they've grown. Together, these little ones represent joy, healing, and a sense of grounding in a world where everything else can feel chaotic. What fans loved most about the post wasn't the outfits or the locations. It was the intimacy, the unfiltered joy, the normalcy. People described the images as cozy, raw, family at its best, and the side of Khloe we love the most. It reminded the world that behind the multi-million-dollar brands, behind the reality TV fame, and the massive online presence, Khloe is simply a mom in her holiday era, doing Target runs, snapping car selfies, and letting her kids pick out ornaments like any other family preparing for Christmas. This year's holiday energy from Khloe feels different, stronger, softer, happier. After the stress and worry of the last Christmas season, she appears determined to make every moment count. Whether it's decorating early, taking the kids shopping, sharing matching outfits, or celebrating birthdays with pastel balloons and kitchen dance parties, she's fully present, and fans are eating it up. The photos mark the unofficial beginning of the Kardashian family's long-awaited holiday content rollout, something followers look forward to every year. And if Khloe's early post is any indication, we're about to get a lot more warm, wholesome, unexpectedly emotional glimpses into how the family is celebrating this season. From the matching hats to the elf hat moment to the cousin bond on full display, Khloe Kardashian isn't just showing off her holiday plans. She's opening a window into the joy, healing, and gratitude she's carrying into this Christmas. A reminder that even in a family that lives on camera, the most meaningful moments are the simplest ones. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.
Southern Charm's Madison LaCroix shocked fans at BravoCon 2025 after a sudden and frightening car crash in Las Vegas left the reality star shaken, emotional, and forced to cancel her scheduled appearance. It all unfolded on the evening of November 15, 2025, a day that had started like any other glamorous BravoCon weekend, but ended in a moment that reminded everyone just how quickly life can swerve off course. Earlier that day, Madison had been glowing at the event, smiling for photos, joining panels packed with fans, and speaking about motherhood, filming, and the future of Southern Charm. She attended the Parents' Night Out panel, where she opened up about life as a mother of two, sharing how obsessed she is with her newborn daughter, Teddy, and how seamlessly her 12-year-old son, Hudson, has stepped into the role of protective big brother. Her energy was warm, her spirits were high, and she appeared to be having one of her most successful BravoCon appearances yet. But later that night, as Madison and her team were heading back to their hotel before her scheduled taping of Watch What Happens Live, the unexpected happened. heavy rains had been hitting Las Vegas throughout the day, causing flooding on roads around the venues. While driving through one of these storm-affected areas, their vehicle became involved in a collision that left everyone inside deeply shaken. Although the crash did not result in severe injuries, the emotional impact was immediate. The jolt, the panic, the sudden realization that a fun, fan-filled day had taken a terrifying turn, it all came crashing at once. Madison later described the moment as frightening and admitted that she and her team were still catching their breath from the incident. She emphasized how grateful she was that everyone walked away safely. No broken bones, no hospital emergencies. But the mental shock was unmistakable. You could feel it in her words, her tone, and the way fans reacted across social platforms. The moment Madison announced she wouldn't make it to Watch What Happens Live, fans watched in real time as the Bravo-verse shifted from excitement to concern. Her scheduled appearance was part of the buzzworthy #1 Guys and Gals episode that would pit casts from multiple hit series, including Southern Charm, Summer House, The Valley, and Southern Hospitality, in a fun, chaotic, Bravo-style battle of the sexes. For Madison, this was supposed to be a big moment. Her absence was instantly noted, instantly discussed, and instantly felt. When she shared her message, she sounded both apologetic and overwhelmed, saying she was sad to miss the show, but thankful for the love she'd received from fans throughout the day. This wasn't the dramatic Madison people see on screen. This was Madison the human being, shaken but grateful, scared but composed. It was a raw moment that cut through the glitz of BravoCon and reminded fans that even reality stars are not immune to real-life danger. Social media exploded with reactions. Fans flooded her comment sections with messages like, "Glad you're okay, take all the time you need," and "Health comes first." Fellow Bravo celebrities quietly sent their support behind the scenes. Even those who weren't at BravoCon felt the shock, because anytime a cast member announces a car crash during such a major event, it's impossible not to worry. Meanwhile, the weather in Las Vegas continued to be a talking point. The heavy rain, the flooding, the slippery roads, all of it created dangerous conditions, and Madison's experience was suddenly part of a larger story about how chaotic the weekend weather had become. Many fans noted how unpredictable the conditions were, and how easily such an accident could happen, especially with the constant travel and tight schedules BravoCon demands. But let's take a step back and remember who Madison LaCroix is in the Bravo universe. Known for her bold personality, her frank honesty, her beauty business success, and her headline-making storylines, she's been a breakout star since joining Southern Charm's main cast in Season 7. Over the years, she's grown from a fiery newcomer into a central figure in the franchise. Then, in 2025, everything in her personal life shifted again when she and her husband Brett Randall welcomed their daughter Teddy, a moment that softened Madison's image and brought a new level of maturity and emotion to her on-screen presence. At BravoCon, she had been radiating that new mom glow, sharing cute anecdotes about how tiny Teddy already has her wrapped around her finger, laughing about how expensive parenthood can be, and speaking proudly about how her son Hudson has embraced his role as big brother. All of that joy made the accident later that night even more emotionally jarring. To go from a full day of celebrating family, fans, and the show, to suddenly being hit with a terrifying real-world scare, it's the kind of emotional whiplash no one expects. In the aftermath of the crash, Madison made the tough decision to cancel not only her Watch What Happens Live appearance, but all her remaining BravoCon commitments. It was disappointing for fans who hoped to see her, but it was also completely understandable. Sometimes the body needs a moment to recover, not just physically, but mentally. She said she was sad to miss the show, but grateful above all else that everyone was safe. You could feel the sincerity in her words. What makes this moment even more significant is its timing. Southern Charm Season 11 is set to premiere just days after the accident. Madison's storyline this season already includes balancing motherhood with filming, navigating her friendships, and stepping into a new phase of life. Now, viewers are naturally wondering if the crash and its emotional aftermath will influence how she enters the new season spotlight. And it's not just about storyline. Fans care about Madison. Whether they agree with her, clash with her, love her, or critique her, she's become one of the most discussed personalities in the Bravo universe. So when something scary happens, the reaction is immediate and emotional. This wasn't just another celebrity headline. This was a moment when the drama wasn't produced, wasn't edited, wasn't made for television. It was real.
Even with the shock, Madison handled the situation with calmness and gratitude. No anger, no blame, no outburst, just relief and a humble acknowledgement that things could have been much worse. She thanked fans for their support, celebrated her team's safety, and promised to recover and regroup. As the days go on and BravoCon 2025 fades into memory, this incident will remain one of the most talked about moments of the weekend, not because of scandal, but because of vulnerability, because it showed that behind the cameras, the panels, the fan frenzy, and the viral clips, the stars of these shows are real people, navigating real highs and lows. Now all eyes are on Madison as she takes time to rest, reconnect with her family, and likely prepared to return to the world of Southern charm stronger than ever. Fans will surely see her address this moment in her own way. Maybe in an interview, maybe in a social media update, maybe during the new season's press cycle. What's undeniable is that the incident has added a dramatic, unexpected chapter to her ongoing story, and the Bravo audience will be watching closely. For now, the Bravoverse is simply relieved she's safe. The crash may have stopped her from stepping onto the BravoCon stage, but it hasn't stopped her story. If anything, it's made viewers more invested, more supportive, and more eager to see what comes next for Madison LaCroix. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.